The 17-year-old coming clean, telling us how he untied steers at the Houston Livestock Show and Road. Deadly conduct.
It's a story you'll only see on 13
conduct.
tonight. Our Pooja Lodi live at NRG Park. And Pooja, you had a chance to talk to his mom, and she let him spend the night in jail.
That's right. She says she wants him to understand what he did. Now, if you've ever been to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, you know you can get right up close to the animals. This is the area where that 17-year-old was when he admits he made a very poor decision.
This is what I thought about when I seen the cows, you know.
Alonzo Apodaca is an
This sounds like a perfectly sensible and well-adjusted young man who was concerned for the well-being of animals, and they arrested him for it.
an animal lover.
His name is Panther.
When he saw these steers at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, he says he worried they were tied up too tightly.
I grabbed it and I took it off, you know, and I just let it loose. It didn't get up, it didn't swing, it didn't do nothing, you know. I do that for the first one, and then I go to the other one, I take the rope, and then the third one, I'm petting it, and I take the rope, but they seen me, so they were like, can you not do that? And I get away, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Soon afterward, Alonzo says he was tackled to the ground and handcuffed. Rodeo officials confirm none of the steers got out and nobody was injured. But animals can be unpredictable and dangerous.
Then why does this show exist?
And there are clear signs telling people not to touch them. Alonzo was charged with
Oh, poor cow. Look how beautiful.
deadly conduct, a misdemeanor, but Alonzo was still taken to jail.
You're just alone, you know. At first, a lot of things go through your head, like...
Well, yeah, society's fucked. Thanks for the donation, dude. Son Goku donated $2. Let me see.
Therapist, you need to stop acting like life is a medical condition. Bad days aren't trauma, and feeling lost isn't a disorder. And not getting your way, that's not oppression, that's Tuesday. People have started diagnosing normal struggles like their psychological crisis, when in reality, life comes with stress, setbacks, and uncertainty.
Yeah. A lot of kids raised with single mom mentality.
That's not dysfunction, that's just being alive. Therapy has its place, but so does resilience. At some point, you have to stop overanalyzing every inconvenience and start handling things like a functional adult. Because
yeah, I would agree with that. Thanks for the donation, Son Goku.
This economy, which we've done everything to scuttle, but that we should maybe wake up with regard to, well, these more sophisticated issues that you've been bringing to light. Okay, so let's start with your feelings about Canada.
I mean, well, it's a beautiful country. How can you not love the country? I mean, just because I love it doesn't mean I always like it.
Who is this guy? Jim, is this guy? Please don't tell me something horrible about this guy. Can we just learn to say this in the United States? Can every Democrat, like, memorize, and maybe progressives? Nah, they can never do it. Can everybody just remember this? I feel like, don't parents say this about their children sometimes, or at least children about their parents? I don't always like him, but of course I always love him, right? Like, yes, I love my country. It's beautiful. There's a lot of great things about it, a lot of things to be proud of. It's not perfect. We work to make it better. The only reason why you want it to be better is because you love it. If you hated it, then what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
And
but you have chosen to stay here.
Yeah,
of course, operations.
Yeah, and I've doubled down. Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is my team. This is my country. This is my home. Your job, it's given me so much. And as you said, your obligation is to carry the load you think you can handle. Yeah. So you carry the load that you think is yours, that you can bring to bear. And there's beautiful people who volunteer at food banks, who do many wonderful things in this country, healthcare workers who care for vulnerable, and on it goes. And so I think...
well, and you've poured your efforts into developing the tech economy in the Waterloo area. And my brother-in-law, who's like a tech maven, he thinks that the engineer graduates from this institute in particular are like world top rate. And so, you put your money where your mouth is. And
it's very rewarding. It's very meaningful. It's a shame to see it sub-optimized, but do you let the bullies and the elite failure of the last 30 years prevail when there's so many good people who are trying to advocate for a better country and a better future?
Like who? What? Like, can we have this messaging? Yes. This is like he's like me, the institution cuck defense or whatever that everybody hates so much. Like, listen, there's a lot of great stuff here. Let's just fix the problems. We don't have to throw out fucking everything. There's a lot of great stuff here. Yes. Yes.
There are so many good people who are trying to advocate for a better country and a better future. And if I can provide some resources and air cover for them, as opposed to abandoning them, well, morally, what do you think is the right thing to do?
Oh, what was his answer to that? He's not going to answer that directly. Like, well, the problem is it's impossible. Wait, where's this full conversation? What did that say? Hold on.
Well, morally, what do you think is the right thing to do?
Behind
30 years prevail when there's so many good people who are trying to advocate for a better country and a better future. And if I can provide some resources and air cover for them, as opposed to abandoning them, well, morally, what do you think is the right thing to do?
Right, and hence this discussion. Okay, so now let's look.
Oh, and he doesn't even answer. Fucking pussy.
Forward. Let's look now and forward a little bit. And so, as we speak, virtually, the Liberal Party, which
so we're talking about Trump, his miscalculations.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I didn't answer that yet.
Sure,
I didn't answer that yet because we split too hard.
Okay.
Here, I think Trump has made a strategic mistake because America's got an unbelievable deal from Canada.
Oh, and see, now he's going to talk about the soft power that America enjoys, the amazing access that we have to so many markets. All of the arguments he's about to make, maybe, is going to map onto the deal that the UK had with the European Union, by the way. Maybe we'll see. But
And as they got this exfiltration of our best graduates tend to leave in droves from places like Waterloo
to the United States, to
Silicon
San
Valley,
Francisco,
out into the trillions of market cap. Our best ideas invariably are taken by U.S. companies where they own them and commercialize them. Our best resources, like Alberta oil, is overwhelmingly shipped raw to America, where it's value added and sold back here. American companies come to Canada, basically get monopolies for what they sell here in various technologies and products and pharmaceuticals.
So it's already a pretty good deal for the U.S.
It's an amazing deal. And
like, even saying that and being surprised should be humiliating. Like, do you not know anything about it? But I mean, it's not like it's their job or anything, right?
Then they don't have to pay taxes here, and the wealth effects aren't shared here. So America has got a great deal from Canada, an unbelievable deal. And Canada says, thank you for that. Would you like fries with this? And that's because of this inattention that we talked about in the second leg. And the frog has been cooking 1 degree at a time for Canada over 30 years. And a shrewd person would have said, let's keep this good game going. Let's maybe turn the degree up 2 degrees at a time, but don't turn it up too much that you freak out the frog and it jumps out of the pot. And I think Trump thought he had such dominance. It was kind of like the Russians with the Ukrainians, that they would just submit. And what Trump has done he's been so extreme, so out of line, that he's actually woken up Canadians to say, we're better than this. We're capable of being more sovereign. We're capable of being more prosperous. I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to submit. I'm going to invest. I'm going to start to think about this.
Wake up.
And actually,
the UK is still part of the European Common Market. I thought they withdrew from that like 4 years ago. Is that not true? I don't think that's true. Like, you have to negotiate your own trade deals now when you're the UK. You don't get to be part of the the EU market anymore. Yeah, I don't know what that.
The Canadians will start to get their fair deal in this changed economy with an updated sense of thinking.
And that could happen.
Well, that's the fork in the road. So do they submit and become a subordinate Puerto Rico without a passport? Or do they respond and build the capacity to vision and work towards an appropriate standing and future for the country in this changed world? And I think that potential of the latter one is there and before us. I'm going to bring all I can to bear in encouraging and supporting that potential, but it's not certain that that's going to happen. Okay, it's very clear what Trump's going to do. He's not going to back off.
No, he's not a back off sort of guy.
It's his orthodoxy. He's more locked in that orthodoxy than we were in our 30 years of hands off, in spite of all the facts that came at it. I think it's going to take he's just going to keep tweaking it. But he's already done the damage because the law doesn't apply anymore. He says you can't have access to the U.S. market, so move your factories here. Nobody's going to do a press release that says I'm moving my factory in the middle of the night to the U.S. The damage is done for Canada in this current system. He barely needs to put tariffs on it anymore. Just the threat of it is de facto in the business realities. So the big question is, what is Canada going to do in that response to that fork in the road? And if we take the higher potential route, we will have a much better future, granted a bumpy interim phase. And that goes to the point of leadership that you were.
Okay. Well, let's turn to that. So we're at the dawn of a transformation in the Canadian political scene, at least in principle. We have the spectacle of new leadership arising after Trudeau on the Liberal side. It's the day before the leadership race for the Liberals finalizes. And
see, I don't know. I feel like he obviously, or at least in other conversations, he would disagree heavily with so much that he just says nothing. So boring. I don't care.
Folks are EI.
DEI.
So, here's where...
Today, you are going to learn about how a company has fallen to pieces. And it's one the name of which you may not have heard. It's called Thunderful, but hundreds of jobs are gone.
Japan is ditching the dollar against Trump's unreasonable tariffs. You mean they're getting rid of their supply of foreign currency, or what do you mean by that?
And you might recognize at least some of the games, like the entire Steam World series. You've probably seen those on Steam, certainly on Game Pass, Planet of Lana, Viewfinder, many other games. Basically always indie-scale games with heart. But this is obviously not a story about those games. This is a story about a line that must go up. Now, we say that phrase a lot, sometimes it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but just literally take a look at this line. This is not a line that's been going up, and this line is the stock price for Thunderful Group, and it's not gone up in 5 years. It's actually flatlining right now, and as it flatlines, the business behind it is falling to pieces. Hundreds of layoffs, vaults of intellectual property stuffed away unused. This is an Embracer Group tier disaster that has not yet hit the mainstream. You get to find out about this story today, and just like with Embracer, it is driven by ambition. An ambition to bring together indie teams and punch above their weight and make the line go up in the process. It did not work, so let's investigate. We've also got to face a sad truth. If you have slacked on canceling your subscriptions, come to the front of the class, because we're going to solve that with Rocket Money. They're today's sponsor, and they make solving that problem so easy. And you can even get started for free today at rocketmoney.com/make it easy. They also say really is just a good encapsulation of everything. So this game is called Rainbreaker, right? It's a narrative roguelite action game, and you can probably see some Hades inspirations. It's from an award-winning studio called Fizbin. It released March 18th, and just 2 weeks before that, the studio announced its closure. They're far from the first victim of Thunderful, and I say victim because they were closed by Thunderful. It wasn't just a publishing agreement. Thunderful had, in fact, acquired the studio. Now, on paper, this should have been a perfect pairing, right? Thunderful had published one of Fizbin's games before, and of course Thunderful, because they're a wider group, they would have the resources to provide Fizbin with security in a fluctuating market, so the short-term cash flow doesn't mean they go to zero. That's the type of thing where an acquisition is supposed to be a value add. And sure, when you're acquired, you cede some control, but game finances are screwed. You can see why you would sell your company to keep the lights on, to get the resources you need. But plans change. Thunderful certainly did. Barely a year after purchasing Fizbin, Thunderful decided that they just didn't want to make games internally anymore. Fizbin's devs were not needed, and Thunderful would not fund another project. It's not like they went away purely because of what they cost or anything like that, no. It was a strategic move made by the people who acquired them, and because of that, rip Fizbin, the line had to go up. The line exists because, well, that's their public stock price. Of course, that means that they needed to list their stock publicly, and Thunderful listed themselves on the First North Premier Exchange in December 2020. The stock sale raised 1.3 billion Swedish kroner, which is about $155 million. That was exactly what they forecasted for their IPO, which means initial public offer. And that was all going to plan. Amazing! 155 mil. And of course, it was late 2020. That's when games looked to be an exceptional investment. Lockdowns had people stuck indoors. Hell, the lockdown effect had World of Warcraft's worst expansion also be its fastest selling one. And as a lot of people who bought into pandemic hype stocks kind of would find out, a lot of that ended up being a bubble. But of course, at the time, what was happening is investors were betting on a fundamental societal change that would have people at home playing games, that they would habituate to that over lockdown periods, and then keep on doing it with game spending rising and rising and rising. So everyone was piling into pandemic stocks, and our industry benefited in the short term, but certainly not in the medium or long term. Thunderful then ended up with a whole bunch of money raised via this stock offering. And that's because investors would look at Thunderful and see a consistent group of developers with a strong plan. But of course, you know what they say about plans coming into contact with the enemy. So, just before the IPO, the CEO of the group spoke to the press. His words have not aged well. Not at all. I'll quote him. "I think our employees are worried that they're going to screw up, but I think we've been very gentle about this, trying to explain to everyone that it's not a dangerous thing. We're ready for this now, and we're prepared for what it entails in terms of responsibility." If this was a TV show, you would say the writers are way too on the nose. That's literally what he said. So now we get to talk about what he did and how wrong he was about everything he said. Everything. It's now time to burn that $155 million. So what happened next was pretty much what always happens after an IPO. Thunderful started expanding, and they did it rapidly. Their first purchase was a developer and a publisher called Head Up Games. They're the people, by the way, who did Bridge Constructor. Well, this is kind of fun. They cost 11 million euros at the time. Remember that figure because it's actually one of the worst deals that Thunderful would make. Over the next 2 years, they bought 4 more studios, including Fizzbin, but oh no, games were not enough. Absolutely not. Thunderful wanted to be self-sufficient, and that meant more than just video games. So they did the obvious. They paid 115 grand for a film production company, which is obviously not a lot of money. 115 grand versus 155 million raised, but man, I think it was still putting the cart before the horse. Granted, it's easy for me to say that in hindsight. Anyway, even if you do have game studios and a production company, you're still going to have a problem. Those studios can only make video games so fast. Not fast enough to make the line go up. And that is why they acquired UK consultancy group Robot Teddy, and they set up 2 grassroots indie game funds. But that still wasn't enough. No game empire is complete without loads of mobile games. So what they did is they acquired a mobile studio and they signed Super Meat Boy Forever. Certainly another banger move in a chain of executing pure business. You know, cross-functional teams, synergy, pursuing blue sky opportunities. I mean, if that does not put Coke in the table, I don't know what will. But speaking of lines, well, the line would go down. Not to shock you, but the whole sugar rush of our last segment was not really healthy for them in the long run. Rather shockingly, all was not well in the C-suite of Thunderful. For the whole of 2021, Thunderful actually made the line go up. Well done, lads. Relatively solid profit growth and good revenue increases. And that really validated that the IPO and the spending were very sensible things. Then 2022 hit. Games like The Gunk simply did not meet their sales targets. By August 2022, the CEO had stepped down and they actually reported a $2 million loss for the year's first half. And when they did, they blamed weaker than expected game performances. But in reality, massive, and he acted quickly. Management was shuffled, external talent was acquired.
Yeah, boring.
This
Don't want to watch that.
Ambassador Huckster, if I might briefly, my colleague, Senator.
There's something very.
For me, I eat fat maybe once a week. I have a little bit of pizza usually once a week at a social gathering. Which people have already figured out what's up with that. I want a TV show written in IR once a week. That I want a TV show written in IR. Nobody in the real world thinks I'm fat. In fact, I have chicks telling me they think I'm ripped in person. What the fuck are you talking about? You know, they said I was Ryback, but smaller than Ryback. Well, I'm only smaller than Ryback because I'm 6 inches shorter than him. In terms of lean body mass versus height, I'm actually just as big as Ryback. And if you guys
I don't know if he actually thought that, or if he just couldn't admit that Ryback is bigger than him. It's really hard to tell with Blaha if he actually thought that.
go watch any of my training clips I've done this month, where you can see me standing up, walking around better, you'll get a better idea of that. If you just don't look at his delts and arms and you look at his back, chest, things like that, his legs, you'll realize that this photo, he is actually smaller than I am. And it's, again, his arms are bigger, his delts are bigger, but his overall muscle mass, he's actually smaller than me at this point. And today we're going to be covering none other than...
Oh my God.
Jeff Side. Now, I don't want people to think that I think Jeff is big, because anyone who wants to question this can go ask Matt Ogus, Chris Lovato, any of the guys who have seen me in the same room in person with Jeff Side. Jeff Side is not big. I don't need to cover his stats because I'm convinced he adds 20 pounds to his numbers. He is nowhere near as big as the stats he puts out, and he is a lot smaller than I am personally. Now I'm going to show you guys side by side two bodybuilders, competitive bodybuilders from different eras, who are both 6 foot tall and 200 pounds. So if you put them in at about 6% body fat, that comes to 25.1 fat-free mass index. And here they are side by side.
They are not the same height and weight. Clearly, they're not the same height and weight. Wasn't Serge Nubret shorter than Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold was like 6'1" or 6'2"? Let me see.
And now we come to the heavy. And now we'll call on all three.
Yeah, it looks like Schwarzenegger was a fair bit taller than Serge Nubret. Yeah. There you go. You see him right next to each other. Yeah, chances are he's not 6 foot. He's like probably 5'10", maybe?
All right, the one on the left, you guys know, that's Serge Nubret, very, very famous bodybuilder, and then the one on the right is a natty pro. And you take someone like me, for example, when I show you the comparisons, you guys are going to laugh. Because if you run my fat-free mass index, I'm holding a bit of water, obviously, but I stepped off the scale this morning at 232 pounds. I am 5'9". If you plug me in...
He's, I think 5'7". Yeah, I think he's 5'7".
And at 25% body fat, which everyone always calls me obese, so, you know, let's say 25%. My fat-free mass index is up around 26. Okay.
He does not have a 26 fat-free mass index.
Height insecurity among shorter men has historically been a problem that has even made it into the history books, like with Napoleon and us talking about the Napoleon complex. The worst thing that you can do is to allow that insecurity to eat you up and for it to make you express a fake or false overbearing confidence that shows insecurity, because then you'll be called little Napoleon. Most of you are smaller than me. I am a 100-kilo power lifter. A lot of you may or may not know, people write on forums, social media, and things that...
Dude, he used to try to claim that his biceps were 18 inches. Mine are 18 and a half right now. And you can tell, Blaha does not have anywhere close to 18-inch arms. Like, he's such a liar.
I do point out that I am actually a lot bigger than I appear to be in videos when I'm just standing there by myself. And so you guys have someone next to me who is a fairly lean, well, not really lean right now by bodybuilding standards, but lean by maybe normal people standards, who's at least 250 pounds. It puts into perspective, I'm not quite as small as some of you guys think I am. And of course, it's really amusing to me when I get comments from people saying that, well, you haven't really made very much progress for someone who knows so much about all of these different topics. You don't have very much muscle mass, when I've put on around 50 pounds of muscle in 2 years' time. And that's the exact opposite of what you want.
When in the fuck did he ever put on 50 pounds of muscle in 2 years?
What you need to do is to step back and assess this and say to yourself, I cannot change my height. I am the height that I am at. I have to accept it. I have to accept who I am. If you
Yeah, he lies about his height. He says he's like 5'9" or something, or 5'10". He's 5'7".
Can't accept who you are, then there's no way you're going to convince other people that it's not an issue, and then you're in.
He had the arrest, right, where it actually said his height, I think. Yeah, Genovapedia. I think it's on Genovapedia. I think some of these things might be taken down. See if there's an arrest. Yeah, a lot of the shit was taken down. So much of this shit is just fucking hilarious, dude. I love how dedicated it is. Love how he has dedicated trolls cataloging every lie he made. And he's got such a small YouTube channel too. It's so great.
Insecurities are going to show through, and you're going to have that Napoleon complex. What I recommend that you do, first of all, is tell yourself in your mind regularly, oftentimes look in the mirror, say my height doesn't matter. You need to express it out loud, believe it, that it is not an issue, that it absolutely doesn't matter. It's not important. It doesn't define you as a person, doesn't define your value, doesn't define your confidence. People can argue all day long about whether they think I'm jacked or not. I don't really give a shit. But by most standards, I'm pretty jacked. Look at my fucking back and hamstrings. Do I really need more size on my back and hamstrings? I don't think so. You need to say these things out loud to affirm yourself, because that's what programs your mind to believe it. The things that you say, your actions actually program beliefs in humans. A lot of people don't realize that. So actually saying something outwardly can program your internal mechanisms to eventually accept it and believe it. Your action, you have to take some sort of action that convinces your brain of it. I mean, I have way more muscle mass than any natural person on earth. And I know people will be like, what? Well, that's true. All right, that's just a simple reality. And the things that you tell yourself are always what you will eventually believe. Particularly if you hear your own mind saying it or your own words writing it, that will program your brain to believe it. All right, this is kind of funny. I've always said in videos, just been my experience with me being a Texan, that the women are a little more forward here. They
Tate W. Let me take a look. Emotional intelligence doesn't exist. It's what women cite when you won't do whatever stupid shit they want. Well, he is right about that. I'm pretty sure the term emotional intelligence was created by just one of these woke lefty type people who... Like, it came out of that whole idea that there's different intelligences. So, oh, you're good at math, but you're not as smart at other things. So calling somebody stupid or low IQ doesn't really make any sense. It's just one of these things to cope to, like, argue that, oh, everyone's equal, everyone's just as capable, they're just better at different things type of thing. But no. Smarter people are better at everything. So if you are just more intelligent, you're going to be better at math, better at reasoning skills, better at science, you know, better at reading, comprehension skills, shit like that. So there's no such thing as emotional intelligence. It's just empathy and agreeableness, stuff like that. It's just like temperament traits. So that's where that comes from. It's just a way of them coping, and rather than saying somebody is like stupid, bad at math, bad at reading, bad at everything, oh, you're emotionally intelligent, you're in line with your emotions, you're not dumber than anybody else, you're emotionally intelligent. It's just horseshit. Thanks for the donation, Vegan Gains is gay. Sadie N-Words donated $2, let me see. Well, I would say that's a Nick Fuentes W. Bro, when Nick Fuentes gets a dunk on you, you know you're fucking stupid. Jackson Hinkle is just a grifter. He's an attention he's just like one of those... He's like a fucking TikTok twat. Like, you know those dumb kids who will do any stupid thing for attention? Like, that's just what he is. Men actually experience rape all the time. It's called women being fat in public. That's good. Ye said it best. Fat bitches are sex offenders. I see them and I'm sexually offended. Making lingerie for fat bitches is like giving knives to little kids. They gonna hurt somebody if you find yourself in a fat bitch pussy. Just remember it's because you're broke. I guess I'm still single because I wear stuff like this instead of just a piece of cloth. Yeah, that's one reason. RFK Jr. comments on Thirst Trap TikTok. Wow. What the fuck? That's actually RFK Jr.'s account. Didn't know he was a gooner. Holy shit. Thanks for the donation, Sadie.
Frank has a new vid.
I'm pretty sure we already reacted. Unless he, like, just uploaded it. Yeah, we already reacted to that last night, and we already reacted to his new shorts. So if you go back earlier on the stream, you can watch my reaction. Thanks for the donation, though, James.
Do chase after the men a little more than I'm used to. Have I had some experiences with this? Yes, I have. And again, I got to remind people, all of you who've met me in person realize that I actually look like I lift in person. I look like I have less fat and a lot more muscle than I do on video. I've had at least a dozen people say that randomly who've met me.
Yeah.
Just the nature of it. So I just kind of laugh it off and thank them for the compliment, tell them have a nice day, and go about my business. But it does happen. I wouldn't say it's something that happens all the time. I mean, these are one-off things. Something that happens once every couple months to me out in public somewhere. But in my experience, British women are a bit more forward than Texas women are in that regard. I don't claim to be natural. And again, people be like, why aren't you bigger? You guys haven't seen me in person, I guess. I'm bigger than you guys think. I'm a hell of a lot bigger than Jerry Ward and Jeff Side and some of these guys you are talking about. But, you know, whatever. You don't have to believe me, guys. You know what? It's fine. Everyone thinks I'm lying. Whatever. Doesn't make a fuck. Doesn't make a fuck. Is when you are out in public, just present yourself and think of yourself and act as if you are average height. Make it a non-issue for you. Just walk around like your average height or slightly taller. Don't exude a fake confidence with it and develop a certain strut or to puff yourself up, because again, that will give you the Napoleon complex. Don't think about it. Just think, I'm average height. Look, guys, I know I'm not ripped. I'm not bodybuilder ripped. I'm not bodybuilder proportion, but tons of people have met me in person, including Big J, and they'll actually attest to that my stats really are what I'm saying. People have actually seen me. You guys know where I train. Anyone is free to come up and meet me. But yeah, I have 18-inch arms. I have a 51-inch chest right now. I'm 5'9", 200.
Yeah, Blaha has 18-inch arms. My arms are 18 and a half. Do Blaha's arms look anywhere close to mine?
20 pounds.
So retarded.
So to give you guys the scale, just so that you guys can look at what 30 pounds looks like even next to me, or put in these enormous Walmart baskets. So you need the daily affirmations for a while, preferably first thing in the morning or before bed. When you look in the mirror, say these things, and that will program your brain. And then to just go ahead and act and think consciously when you're out in public that you're the same height as everybody else. Average height, or pretend that you're even an inch taller, slightly above average. And just think in those terms until it becomes second nature and you just behave that way. So I went and bought a tape today for this. Get it around. Get it over the top so we can't argue about it being too loose. All right, get it completely wrapped over. Oh, this is more work than I thought. Let's see how junkies do this shit. Okay, let's pull the right one. Okay. Let's see where I'm at.
Yeah, and it's very loose.
At, if you guys can see, 17.25.
Yeah, right, sure. So he just left it really loose, and it's also not aligned. Dodo, $22 VG, you will never believe this amazing, like finding intelligent life on another planet.
Alaska, a team of marine researchers from the Whale SETI project, which is exactly what you imagine it to be, lowered a speaker into the water. Their goal was to broadcast a pre-recorded humpback contact call, a sound believed to help whales stay connected over long distances, and observe if any whales would respond. They had no idea whether a live whale would actually be able to recognize or even engage with an artificial signal, but within minutes of playing the call, a known humpback whale in the area, Twain, appeared near the boat, and to the scientists' amazement, she responded. The researchers, realizing they had caught her attention, played the sound again, and again, Twain answered back. Each time the scientists broadcast a call, Twain would respond. But that's no big deal, surely. We know that animals like parrots can imitate the noises that we make. That's nothing special, right? Except here, something strange was happening. When the research team introduced a time delay between their calls of, say, 10 seconds, Twain's return call was similarly delayed. She would wait 10 seconds after the researcher's call before issuing her next response. This behavior went back and forth, with Twain synchronizing her response to the delay between each call from the researchers, for a total of 20 minutes of continual exchanges. We have never seen an animal respond to us where the time since we last talked to them is perfectly factored in to their answer to us, down to the second. And it finds you asking a kind of weird question of yourself. Do whales understand time? Or at least here, something about cadence or rhythm seemed to be really important to them and worth understanding. After 20 minutes, Twain made it clear that she was over this probably very dull conversation to her, gave her final call, and dived deep into the ocean. And the scientists were left with a feeling that they'd just had this profound experience. But was it really? Was this just a game of copycat, or was this actually language? That remained a deep philosophical question for years, until just last month, when a groundbreaking new paper was published in the Journal of Science. 8 years worth of humpback whale songs were analysed using the same models we described earlier. This time, rather than English's mere 40 sounds, the team identified a set of 150 distinct noises that whales frequently relied upon in their calls. These had catchy inclusions like squeak, groan, and my personal favourite, pulsed N-shaped moan. We've all made one. From the identification of these discrete noises, the team then mapped the transition probability between each sound, and found that a larger structure reliably repeated between some calls but not others. A pulsed N-shaped moan into a descending squeak was a very common transition, but rarely did a regular squeak transition into a pulsed N-shaped moan. What this indicated to the team was that there were rules of logic or syntax into how certain sounds can be combined together, and that there were boundaries between discrete sounds. The researchers had found syllables and something akin to words. The idea that Twain may actually have been saying words back to us was fascinating, but what was it that potentially explained the importance of timing and cadence in her responses? In a study back in 2024 on sperm whales, researchers found that as a sperm whale started a call, a nearby sperm whale would issue a response adjusting its speed, delay, or frequency of its calls to match the first whale. Here, as the tempo of the first whale changed, the second whale adjusted its call to match this rhythm. This is almost like turning the dial of an FM radio to maintain a set of calls back and forward between a pair of communicating whales. They also found that periodically between either long exchanges or when switching off between communications of multiple whales, a singular standalone additional click sound would also be issued.
Roger that.
Almost like a punctuation point at the end of a sentence, or an over or call sign. This ability to lens in to the response time and frequency of another whale may be important across whale communication to help individuals converse together above the noise of the ocean or among a larger pod of whales. But again, maybe we're just reading into this all too deeply. Perhaps whales make these sounds follow from one another just because some are physically easier to chain together or sound better than others. Is there any actual evidence that the whale's word choice actually follows the typical patterns we see in complex human language? Back to that 2025 Science publication, when the team conducted an analysis of the words that make up the whale song by ordering word length against its frequency within the song, they find that just like in all human languages, shorter words occur more frequently than longer ones. And when they analysed the frequency and commonality of those words, they found that the most common words are used twice as frequently as the next most common words, replicating perfectly the Zipfian distribution that we thought only belonged to human language. For the very first time in any animal we have ever studied, we see the strongest evidence that we have ever seen. For a complexity of structure so remarkably similar to our own, it feels very compelling to say that we are witnessing true complex whale language.
Wow.
Which makes us ask the only sensible question that we can at this point. What on earth are they talking about? The question on most people's minds here will be, so can we actually decode anything that these whales are saying back and forth to each other? Are they in fact saying anything at all? Now that's got a simple answer and a complicated answer. The simple answer is we have no idea. The complicated answer is we have no idea yet. To actually map out any level of meaning to individual noises, words, or sentences would require us to have a deeper understanding of the context and circumstances that these noises are delivered in. Though that doesn't mean that we haven't figured anything out. Back in 2008, researchers discovered that sperm whales repeat unique click patterns when approaching others. These patterns are rhythmically distinct to each individual, and whales respond differently depending on which clicking pattern they hear. It seems that sperm whales may have, recognize, and remember each other by something equivalent to a name. We worked this out because every single dataset that we have at the start of a whale interaction began this way, which meant that we
You have no idea what emotional intelligence is. Add my Discord, debate me on the topic. Let me see. There you go. I fucking sent you a request. Oh, it's gonna be fucking AIDS. Throat is getting congested.
We just had a lot of data. To work out anything else, we'll need a similar, clear and correlated dataset from experiments. It's also worth highlighting that if we do this, we may find that there is no meaning associated with any of these words. The value of language to us is to append discrete words onto complex concepts and use the exchange of words to transfer ideas between individuals.
That's interesting. Whales are pretty awesome. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Pull it tighter. Okay. I've got right at 17 1/4. I ripped my left bicep completely off the bone and have struggled with bicep development since. I did that in 2004, and I had 20-inch arms when I did that, and there are photos up proving it. I had 20-inch arms when I ripped my bicep. 2004, and I've...
So is this jackass gonna fucking debate me or what? I fucking added you. Oh. Hello?
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what did you mean that emotional intelligence isn't real?
And they're blocked. Yeah, I'm gonna fall for that again. Uh-huh. Yeah. I can recognize the guy's voice, too. Like, what a fucking retard.
struggled with bicep development since that tear. Like when I was at my biggest as a lifter in my 20s, when my arms were taping 20 inches, and there are plenty of photos circulating around. It's not like I gotta hide it or anything. They're out there. I've put some up before. Yeah, I couldn't see it. Like, I could honestly...
Yeah, nice try. You're banned in chat too, dipshit. Make another fucking account. Try again, fuckface.
tell you that when I had 20-inch arms, when I looked in the mirror, they looked like they were like 12 inches. I'm just like, fuck, you know, what do I do about this? When I was doing the hydrogen compressor work while training, I was still benching 400 pounds and squatting 550, and I had been off of drugs. I had come completely off of gear for part of the, and I mean, I'd been off gear for a couple of years. Just showing up at the gym in a tank top and a pair of shorts and some chalk and a water bottle and training. And that's how I eventually got to the point years ago to where I could bench 475 pounds for a double. I could squat.
You're lost and helpless.
Oh, funny.
You gotta have a healthy balance.
I don't know,
of both.
man. You said you can figure it out for yourself. It's like Protestantism.
Well, you can figure out with and even some of the saints say that, like Saint Maximus and others, that to look within. And Socrates says that because, like the Bible says, like the conscience, right? God, His laws upon the conscience, and the soul is made in the image of God. So, to look within, you can know about morality and have a connection.
It's easy for them to say that because they're saints. They are elect, and we aren't.
Yeah, but it's still this whole look within comes before the saints. It comes from like Greek philosophy.
Yep.
So if God's moral, why does he let children get raped?
Bruh. You want to go down that rabbit hole?
Are you guys gonna entertain this or?
Is that vegan?
No.
He loves humans enough to give them
No,
free
that's not
will,
even-
but like
that's not
because
even
some
real.
people that abuse their free will and are
Yeah, so stop them
like,
from abusing their free will. So let me ask you
But
this:
that's
if you had
evil.
godlike powers, would you stop children from getting
Can't be
raped?
evil.
We want to know now.
Huh?
If you
Sure,
had,
I'm eating ice cream.
if you had godlike
Do I
powers,
only
would you
have
stop
godlike
children
powers?
from getting raped?
If I had godlike powers, I would give people free will and choice to make their own
So
decisions.
you'd allow children to get raped?
I would allow people to choose between good and evil. Yes.
Yeah. So you'd let children get raped if you had godlike powers?
Dude, you're arguing against a retard. I don't know why you're wasting time.
Yeah,
Are we
I would
assuming
allow
you're getting-
people to choose evil.
Okay,
If I was
so
a
are the
maximally
police
good being.
immoral for stopping children from getting raped?
Yes.
no, they're using their free will to stop it.
Okay, so if you had the power to stop child rape, it would be immoral because you're interfering with somebody's free will.
God allows us to create justice systems to stop.
That's if you assume free will
rape.
is the end.
I mean, that wouldn't
purpose
allow
of
us to create
the human
change.
person. So you're
It wouldn't
making an
allow the
assumption
human-
about autonomy.
If God just killed every evil person, we would have zero participation in sanctification, in glorification. Yeah.
Well, I just asked you if you had godlike powers, would you stop child rape? And you said no.
This isn't
So I didn't
the
say
fucking,
I didn't
like-
ask if you were
Nonsense
God.
question. That's a nonsense question
No.
to ask. Is
Yeah.
How that's like an experience we can't relate to, right?
Well,
it doesn't
and
matter.
also
You
you
can
can't
conceptualize
That's like
understand
the
God's
asking
reasoning.
if you were a unicorn, would you want to have a horn or would you not want to have
That's
a horn?
not what I'm asking. I'm asking
No,
if you
it
had
is.
godlike
No,
powers,
no.
you could read
Making a
everybody's
category
mind,
error.
you
No,
knew
listen,
everything that was
category
going
error.
on, and you had
It
the
is.
power to
Yo,
stop
yo, yo,
them.
Stop LARPing, dude. Stop LARPing.
You
You're
think this is a
literally
gotcha,
asking
yeah.
if someone was a unicorn, would they want a horn or not?
Okay, so you're just
a fucking idiot.
dodging. So you're just dodging. So if you had the power to stop all child rapes, would you stop child rapes?
Well, okay, what does it mean to be God? That's really what you're asking.
That's not what I'm
right?
asking. I'm asking you if
It
you had the
is.
power
It
to
is,
stop
dude.
all
Yes,
child
that
rapes,
is- that-
would
no,
you
he's
stop
correct.
child
He's
rapes?
correct.
Dude. You're
No,
being
no, he is correct.
disingenuous.
He is correct. What you're asking is for us to take the states of God. We don't understand fully what God is.
Yeah,
We
you
don't understand
dumbass.
That's
fully.
not what I'm asking. I'm just simply asking if you
You're
had the power to
shifting the
stop child
burden.
rapes, would you stop child rapes?
What does child rape have to do with being God?
Well,
What's
is
the
God
relation
is
here?
God omnibenevolent and all powerful?
Oh, okay, so I see. So you believe that the divine properties of God have an ontology outside of God?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm asking you.
Yeah, that's not what Catholics
I'm
believe.
asking you.
We believe in
is-
absolute divine simplicity.
Is God
like what you're
omnibenevolent
doing
and
is
all
you're
powerful?
right. The thing is the reason why you're strawmanning the position.
I'm not
is
strawmanning
because-
anything. I'm just asking
no,
you
you
something.
are because you have an
One at a time.
anthropomorphized understanding of what or
I'm
who God
asking
is.
you a simple
That's the
question:
thing.
Is God
That's your
omnibenevolent and all
metaphysical
powerful?
presupposition.
Yes.
You have an anthropomorphic
I'm
understanding
asking
of
you
God,
a
Games.
question. I am not making a
Not
statement
all
or
questions are
proposition.
created equal, you dum-dum.
I'm asking
Maybe
you
your
a
question is stupid.
Is
right?
is
Sometimes,
God omnibenevolent?
most of the times it's
no,
not
no,
about the
no.
right
It's yes or no.
answer.
It's yes or
asking
no.
the right
It's not
question.
stupid. It's no. Okay,
It
you're
is a
dodging.
stupid question, dude. Just because you were told when you were fucking 5
Oh,
years old.
so I'm not.
that, oh,
I,
you
I'm
can
not
ask me
allowed to
anything,
ask you
there's no
questions
stupid
about your
question.
faith. I'm not.
Doesn't mean that there aren't fucking stupid questions, man. It
I-
just means that you still have an
if it's
unexamined
stupid, you
fucking
should be able to answer
predisposition
it. Is God
towards your own
omnibenevolent
fucking
and all
childhood
powerful?
because you're a fucking infant.
Is God omnibenevolent and all powerful?
That's what. Those are human language.
So he's not.
Yes,
so God
correct.
could be evil. God could
And
like
his
child
premise
rape.
and the whole premise is on the proposition that if he existed, right?
No, in right. So the whole good and evil argument is subjective, and that's human created.
Like, here's the thing: if you want, like, your stupid, if you want your answer, like your stupid question answered here. If I right now was given the Thanos gauntlet and I could do anything I want, but I remain cognitively the same, yes, there would be. Like,
I'm not asking you that. I'm just asking: Is God omnibenevolent
No, yes,
and
I
all
would.
powerful?
I would. Oh, okay. So you want to ask a different question? You don't want your.
I
original
asked
question
that
answered.
same question for the last like 5 minutes straight. Is God omnibenevolent and all powerful?
Yes.
Okay, so assuming God
And
is
he's omniscient.
omnibenevolent,
You left out omniscience. That's
omniscience
one of the
would
really
be
important
included
ones.
in all powerful.
Omniscience and omnipotence are two completely different characteristics.
No, they're not. If
Yes.
you're all powerful, you'd have the power of omniscience. So no.
Listen,
Omniscience doesn't
there's gonna be
necessarily
things-
entail all powerful, but all powerful
Oh my God,
entails
what is
omniscience.
this retard.
So I still haven't gotten an answer. Is God all powerful and omnibenevolent?
Oh, it's vegan games. This guy's holy
Yeah,
shit.
he's
this
the debater guy.
retarded.
No, he's
Vegan Games is the
cool.
No,
fucking
he's
man.
Still not hearing
the
the
guy
answer. Is
from
God
the
Why'd
omnibenevolent?
you guys
He's
just...
the
He's nutrient deficient because of his veganism.
He's live
and so
right
it
now.
leads to this
He doesn't have
psychotic.
protein in the brain.
Oh, they
Yo,
had to
vegan
He
mute
doesn't have
me.
any
If I
red
make a-
blood cells.
They had to
Why
mute
you guys-
If I make a
me.
room, will you
Oh,
join
they
it?
had to mute me.
Like, join my room, bro.
No, that question was absolutely retarded.
His lack of health is what is talking.
You're not going to understand.
Why'd you mute him?
Yeah, unmute him.
Come on.
Or here,
He's
He's a
live.
YouTuber guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
on
you're too
YouTube.
scared to answer a question. So
Vegan
is God all
gains.
powerful and
How does it
omnibenevolent?
feel to be subhuman because
Is
of
God
your
all
own
powerful and
volition?
omnibenevolent?
Because you choose not to eat nutrient
Is God all
dense
powerful
foods?
and omnibenevolent?
How does it feel?
Y'all
right?
aren't
Oh,
even
I'm
having
nutrient
a conversation.
deficient?
Y'all are just both
Subhuman
Turn on your
ignoring each
cam.
other.
by
I'm
your
nutrient
own
deficient?
actions.
How much do you
No,
bench?
we're talking about your brain.
Bro,
He's
y'all are
got
both
muscles, dude.
y'all are both ignoring each other.
He's ripped.
So,
Yeah,
speaking
it's
about
about your
having a
brain
nutrient
development, you
deficient brain,
dum-dum.
why can't you answer simple
Yo,
questions?
Yeah,
Is
don't you
God
know
all
there's a
powerful
reason
and
why
omnibenevolent?
vegan gains? Do you know there's a reason why we have a larger brain than like gorillas? Like parts of our brain are larger than the gorilla brain because we evolved
Can gorillas
away
answer
from
simple questions like if
horse.
is God all powerful and omnibenevolent?
Yeah, but if you lack vitamin B12,
I
dude,
think
that's
God
I
is
not
don't
all
lack
powerful.
vitamin
brain
B12.
matter.
Is God all powerful and omnibenevolent?
Wait, what? Wait, you said omni. Explain omni.
Yeah.
What do you mean by omni malevolent? What is that? Like,
Benevolent.
Precisely.
like
What do you mean
Benevolent.
All
by
good.
like
It's all
superlative?
good.
so
So is
Wait,
explain
God
when you
that
all
to
say
me.
he's
powerful
all
and all
good,
good?
wait, but when you say he's all good, are you appealing to like a
I'm
standard? that
asking,
you
is God
believe?
all powerful and all good in your
Yes.
worldview?
Yeah.
Well, God by nature, because he's God,
dude.
is good, right? God is good.
Billion, yes.
Okay,
To our
so
understanding, yes. To our understanding, yes.
okay, so I would take it to understand if God is all good, he would have a desire to create the best possible world, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Correct.
And if he is all powerful,
Th-
he would
this is-
have the
this-
power
this is
to
called
create the best
begging the
possible
question,
world.
Shut the
vegan
fuck
games,
up.
because there's no way that
What is?
know that he's
That's not
omnibenevolent.
question
Dude,
begging. I
let
don't
the
think you
man
understand
talk.
what
Let the
question
man
begging
talk.
is.
This
Dude,
is the best
all right,
possible
I gotta mute
world.
this kid.
This is the best
This is
possible
it, bro.
world?
Yep.
So
Hanging
the
Murphy
best
out.
possible world is a world
Take
where
us.
genocides happen, holocausts happen, children get raped?
The best possible world requires
Potentially.
our
Potentially.
participation. The
Yes,
participation of creation.
it allows for human growth.
Just
And
a second.
I'm not saying that that's God.
Fucking dipshit. I'm gonna cut that guy's head off one day. Motherfucker.
Try to understand me.
I'm back.
Do not. It's like, don't try to. We are made in God's image.
So
we are
again,
not God.
If God being all good means he has an interest in creating the best possible world, and he has the power to create the best possible world, and we are not living in the best possible world, what is the explanation for that?
Oh, sorry. Repeat that one more time.
If
let me follow you.
If God if God is all good,
the concept of God doesn't logically require
I'm sorry, you
a
keep getting
specific
interrupted, dude.
definition.
So
Can you let the man talk, please?
If we agree that God is all good, and being all good means he has an interest in creating the best possible world, and he is all powerful.
But you're making a tautology.
Stop
You're begging the question. What do you mean by God?
How is that? Do you understand what
What do
question
you mean by
begging
God
is?
is good? Because if you're saying that God is good because he's God, you're begging the question, right? If you're saying that
that's not what I'm saying. That has nothing to do with what I am asking. That is nothing to do with what I asked. I clarified.
There's nothing you know, right, that could relate to God.
Do you understand what question begging is?
Dude, this
guy.
Explain what question begging is.
So you're begging the question.
Explain what question begging is. Nothing I said was question begging.
I don't think you understand what it means to be God.
Do you know what question begging is?
Yes, it's when you assume the conclusion in your premise.
So how is me asking if God is all good and he has an interest in creating the best possible
that God
world?
is good because good is God, you dumbass.
No. That's not what I'm
this?
assuming. That's not what I'm assuming.
How do you know this? Then how do you know that he's like, for example, how do you know that he's logically omnipotent?
What do you mean logically omnipotent?
Bless you.
Thank you.
Like, how do you know, vegan? What I'm asking for you is to clarify your premise.
I asked everyone in chat to clarify if they believe God is all good and all powerful.
Know things that you don't, right?
What?
You're assuming that other
dude, this
people
guy
know
is
things that
just
you
let the
don't
man
know.
fucking talk. You obviously no. Just shut the fuck up, dude.
I don't know if you have a completely different opinion
don't
on
tow police, Grizzly.
I don't know if you have a completely different opinion on whether or not God is benevolent or all powerful. If that's not the case, then the problem of evil wouldn't apply to your faith.
Do we know the all-powerfulness of God and then say that he's all-powerful? Or do we experience
to the
things
guy
that are
asked the question.
powerful and then do we, in a superlative or maximally great way,
and
assume
repeat what you said?
that is the case?
Okay, I couldn't follow what you're saying because what's his name was
He's
talking over you.
Grizzly, just shut up.
Let's hear this.
So, do you take God to be all-powerful and benevolent or not?
So, for example, what I'm asking for is, can you clarify which concept of omnipotence you're using? So I can grant you it, but I want you to clarify what concept of omnipotence are you using.
Yeah, so omnipotence.
Because it sounds like you're attacking a version that's basically a comic book character and not what serious philosophy or classical theism has ever meant by God.
Yeah, so omnipotence would just mean being able to do anything that is possible. So he won't be able to make a shadow bright because that
possible
makes
according
no
to who? How do you know that God acts according to possibilities rather than his own nature? How do you know this?
Can God make a shadow bright?
That's true.
You're anthropomorphizing that because your brain works a particular way, that it's the same. That it must
how could
necessarily
God make
follow
darkness
that it is
bright?
the same God or same for God. See, here's the thing: if you're going to critique the concept of God, you should probably define it accurately first. Otherwise, you're just going to
an all-powerful, benevolent being.
You're not arguing against God. You're arguing against your own caricature of him.
So, if God is not all-powerful and not omnibenevolent, then that would.
So are you claiming to know what God is?
No, I'm asking you what you think
you
God
Jesus?
is. And if you
Vegan,
think he's
vegan,
all
vegan
powerful
gang, are
and
you Jesus?
benevolent, then that creates the problem of
Hey,
evil. If
it's
you're going to
okay
acknowledge
if you
he's not all
think that you're
powerful
Jesus.
or benevolent,
You have
then
full freedom and
the problem
autonomy
of
to
evil
believe
wouldn't
that you're
apply.
Jesus.
Can you stop
There's plenty
interrupting?
of people who believe that they're Jesus. Like in Africa, there's a dude
That has
that has
nothing
over
to do
a
with what I'm
million
asking.
followers
That
that
has
believes that he's
nothing to do
Jesus.
with what I'm asking.
Precisely. Your concept of God has nothing to do with what
All
God is.
I'm asking is,
Don't
do
get
you
it?
believe God is all powerful and benevolent?
That's question begging, dude.
That's not question
What do you
begging. I'm
mean?
asking you a question.
No,
you
we
cannot
are,
be
because
question begging if you
we're
ask a
asking
question. I'm asking you a clarifying
one is
question.
obligated
I
to
did not make a
understand your position
proposition.
for you.
I
Do
did
you
not make a
understand? You're just
proposition.
shifting the burden.
I did
So
not
then
make a
when I
proposition.
asked you,
How is
what
that
does
question begging?
omnipotence mean?
How is
What do you
asking
mean
a
by
question question
omnipotence?
begging?
Vegan, what do you mean by omnipotence? I'm having trouble following you. What do you mean by omnipotence? Clarify that for me.
Yeah, so omnipotence would be the power to do anything that is possible.
Okay, I reject that.
Okay.
I don't think that's what omnipotence is.
What is
Because
omnipotence?
if it was merely about possibilities and not actualizing it, then they're two different categories.
Okay, so what is omnipotence?
Omnipotence is the power to create things other than oneself.
So I would be all powerful because I can create something other than myself.
That's correct. If you could do that. But can you do that? No, you
Yeah,
can't. That's why you're not God.
I just flushed it down the toilet a few hours ago.
You're fucking stupid.
What do you mean by create anything other than yourself? Do you mean just being able to create matter?
Like, yeah, precisely. Like, like when you watch Star Trek and then they use the fucking
well, they don't create matter, they just modify matter or energy.
No, they go, Bridge, can you make me a coffee? And then it fucking
That's not creating matter, that's converting energy into matter.
Precisely, right? But that would be like an analogy that we could use. It would have to be like magic, basically.
Well, it wouldn't be magic, it's just converting energy into matter.
Right, so if you could do creation ex nihilo, that's what we're talking about. Not just the mere possibility of being able to do it, because that's our limitation, right? We're contingent beings, which means that we're limited in a particular way. So when you try to define omnipotence as merely the possibility, that's not strong enough. That's what we're saying. Because you're
not strong enough. Okay, if we go by your definition,
you're assuming that based on your experiences, how the world operates.
Okay,
right?
so
according to your experience,
if you're claiming
that's the way it is for God.
If you're,
right?
I have a question. Yeah, so if you're claiming
with an
if you're claiming my definition of omnipotence makes God weaker and he's even stronger than I'm claiming, then this is just a red herring. It still doesn't resolve the problem of evil.
No, you're making a category error. And by saying that it's merely a red herring means that you're just shifting the burden.
Okay, so does God have the power to create the best possible world?
It's like me saying unicorns don't exist.
Does God have the power to create the best possible world?
Right? That's why I was like making the
Does
horn
God
thing
have the
last
power
time.
to create the best
I was
possible
like,
world?
Right, but if you could be a
Does
unicorn,
God have the power to create the best possible world?
But if you could be a unicorn, right?
Does God have the
that
power
mean
to
that
create
you
the
can
best
choose
possible
whether you have a
world?
horn or not?
Does God have the power to create the best possible world?
You're talking about possibilities again.
Does God have the power to create the best possible world?
We're not agreeing on
Does
what
God have the
omnipotency-
power to create the best
No,
possible world?
So do you see how
Does
do you
God
see
have
how
the
we're
power to
arguing
create the
over
best possible
definitions?
world?
You're just playing a semantic
Does God
game.
have the
What's
power to
your
create the best
definition of
possible world?
Calm down.
How is it hard
Does
for you to
God have the power to
understand
create the
that
best
we
possible
reject
world?
we reject your definition of omnipotence. You have a
No,
very
we're going by
limited
your
understanding
definition.
of
We're going by your
omnipotence.
definition. We're going by your definition. Does God have the power to create the best
Which is
possible
what?
world?
I am not using an all possible worlds definition, you dumbass.
We
I just
don't
gave you my
have
definition
to.
as a creation ex nihilo. You
Is this
dummy.
the best possible world?
Dumb? Dude, are you that fucking dense? Dude, take some
Yeah,
fucking
okay,
vitamins.
you're just dodging. You're just dodging.
No, you're making a
No,
category error and you're shifting the burden.
No, I'm not.
I have one question. One question about
This is
Catholicism.
insane,
Pismo.
dude. The level of fucking
it's
cognitive
not.
dissonance.
No,
man.
it's not.
Vegan, can you shut up, please? Vegan, you smell like crap. Abysmal, I have a question.
Would God have the
for
power to
example,
make
it's
this
like-
world
it's-
better?
it's- it's-
Would
I'll
God
give you
have
an
the power
example,
to make
okay?
this
It's like
world
me
better?
saying that
Would
unicorns
God
don't
have the
exist
power
because
to make
horses
this
don't have
world better?
horns, right? Well,
Would God
sure,
have
but
the
that's
power to
not
make
the
this
unicorn's
world better?
definition. That's your definition.
Would God
right?
have the power to make this world better?
Do you want to start over
Would
again?
God
and
have
maybe
the ability to make this
actually
world
discuss
better?
what omnipotence
Would God
is?
have the ability to make this world better?
Look, if
Would
if
God
you wanna
have the ability
debate,
to make
like
this
a
world
Sunday
better?
school version of
Would God
God,
have the
then you're
ability
free
to make
do
this
that.
world better?
What do you consider better?
Well, a world without child rape would be one thing. I think if child rape didn't happen, the world would be better.
I was raped.
So, does
Do you
God have
believe
the
God
ability to make
exists?
this world better?
He would have the ability. Yes, he has the ability to remove like free will and make people into automatons.
He doesn't have to remove free will.
How not?
There are any number of ways to make this world better without removing free will.
Well, specifically about child rape. Like, I'm not taking their side. I'm just curious to understand what you're saying. Like, how could he remove that in particular? Because that's like a willful action that people freely choose or whatever. Like, how could you, without just removing that ability to make that choice, how could you remove that?
Well, there's for one thing, there's any number of choices that would have been possible, but God has removed that. So we don't have Superman powers. So we can't we can't kill millions of people with our bare hands, which would be a greater act of evil than we're capable of. So he could have just made it impossible to rape children, but he didn't. He has made it impossible for somebody to kill millions of people with their own bare hands. So he could have just made it impossible to rape children. That I don't see how that would be a violation of free will.
I see.
Guys, I have one question. Just one.
So this guy still wouldn't
Is it
answer my
normal- hey,
question.
vegan
Does
gains-
God
vegan
have
gains,
the
can you shut
ability
up?
to
You smell
make
like
this
shit.
world better?
Nigga, you smell like shit. Shut the fuck up. Anyways, I had a question. Like, is it normal if you keep seeing dreams over and over again where Pontius Pilate is like crucifying you and like castrating you? Is this normal?
What the fuck question?
Because I heard Abysmo was having these dreams where Pontius Pilate was crucifying him and like playing with his balls and shit. Like he was like stroking him with some lotion.
So
or something.
Abysmo,
Like,
does
Pontius
God have the
Pilate was
ability
having
to
his
make
fun.
this world better?
This is the best possible world. God wants us to journey and achieve the state of.
So we're living in the best possible world right now.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
So
you don't know
a
that.
world where child rape didn't happen would be worse?
A world where child
Like
rape
I
didn't
said,
happen.
stop trying
Yeah,
to
because the possibility must exist for us to contend with it.
Yeah,
and
Trez is,
defeat
I
it.
know what Trez is talking about. Trez is talking about the best possible world doctrine.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're retarded. Shut up, Trez.
Us being able to see this evil and defeat it and supersede it, it makes us even more good than if it didn't exist at all. If there was no child rape to defeat, we would be less good than if
So
we
child
defeated
rape
it.
should keep happening, so we're as good as possible.
No, we should eliminate child rape.
So okay, so we're not living in
We
the
should
best
be the
possible
ones
world.
to get rid of it.
The only reason that this shit happens is because people gravitate away from God and they sin.
Then why is it mostly
Right.
Catholic priests that fuck
Yeah.
choir boys?
That's not the case. It's mostly like teachers fucking their like female teachers fucking their male students.
It's secular environments like schools where people get like
Yeah, like
fucking
that's why
molested the
Catholic
most.
priests are well known for raping kids.
They're well known because like when it happens, it goes all over the place. Like one incident is enough to go viral, like everywhere.
Right,
That's
because
why
we
it's
hold
known.
ourselves to a
There was
high
a
standard of
massive,
moral standard.
cover-up within the Catholic Church, like for literally like decades. It's not one case going viral. There's a systemic problem within the Catholic Church where priests who've been told that they should be abstinent have decided to relieve their frustrations of abstinence on the rear ends of choir boys.
Yeah, the problem is the church.
That's your fantasy and not
The
reality.
church covers
It's
it
not
up.
fantasy, it is reality.
There was a whole movie about this, right, with like Mark Ruffalo and shit.
Yeah, but
Spotlight.
Well, here's another problem. If you're claiming the only way for us to be as good as possible is to have child rape happen, is God not good?
Are you good?
God wants us to participate.
So is God not good because he's never participated in child rape?
God wants us to participate in child rape? I'm sorry.
Wait, Vegan, are you
He
good?
wants us to participate in defeating child rape.
Yeah,
No. So
a person who defeated child rape is more good than a person who did not defeat child rape.
Question. Are you good, Vegan?
Yeah, I would say so. So if God, if you,
Oh, wait,
if
wait,
the
no,
only
no, no.
way,
Don't say you would
if
say so.
only
I'm
way,
asking you a yes or no question. Are you good or not?
Yeah.
No. Oh, you are?
Yes.
Do you sin? Do you do bad things?
No.
You touch your
You're a lying piece of fucking shit.
What bad
Garbage.
things do I do?
You're a lying piece of garbage.
What bad things do I do?
The debate's
What
over.
bad things do I do? Tell me.
You're a lying piece of garbage.
What bad things do I do? Tell me, what bad things do I
You're
do?
a bad man.
I'm done with you.
Oh, so you can't name one
The
thing.
burden is on you to prove what he did bad. What did he do bad? Come on.
No. He hasn't done anything bad.
Why is he bad?
Why not take
He's
his
morally
word for it?
perfect. Vegan
Yes,
is morally perfect.
I am morally perfect.
You're a lying
Name one
piece of
thing I've
shit.
done that's bad.
You're a lying piece of
Name one thing I've done that's bad.
I just named it.
What?
Lying?
Dude, you're a lying piece of shit.
That's circular.
Yeah,
That's
prove the
circular,
lie.
by the way. Can you name the?
I have to prove your lie. I have to prove that you're perfect.
No,
Yeah, mens
that
rea.
he's not perfect. You have
Well,
to
no,
prove
you'd
that
have
he's
to
not
prove that I'm not
Yeah.
perfect. So
Yeah,
name one thing
you're
I've done that's
stupid.
bad.
You're stupid. You're not only lying, but you're stupid.
Well, guess what? If I were seeing a
No,
kid
guess
get
what?
abused, I'd
Guess
actually
what?
stop it. Unlike
Guess
your
what? You
God.
lost the argument.
Unlike your
You lost
God,
the
I'd
argument.
actually stop a kid
You
from
lost the
getting
argument.
raped. Unlike
No,
your God, I'd
go
actually stop a
rape
kid from getting
yourself with
raped.
your dildo, you
What does your
little
God
brat.
do when he sees kids get raped?
Go
Does he
rape
jerk off? Does
yourself.
he like jerking off to kids
Go
getting
rape
raped?
yourself. Go rape yourself and see how it feels.
But see, it's good. It's a good
Go
thing
rape
that you
yourself,
stop
gay boy.
rape. Okay, if rape didn't exist, there would be nothing for you to stop. There would be no occasion for you to
Okay,
even
so
be good.
has
Okay,
God was God good
I'm
before
perfect.
creation?
That's a
I'm
good
vegan
point.
and I'm perfect.
Was God good before creation?
Yeah, okay, I'm vegan boy and I'm perfect.
Can you mute him because he's not actually contributing to the discussion?
No, can you mute him? Now you're gonna put him muting somebody.
So was God good before creation?
Did you rape
Yes.
yourself with your dildo yet?
Seriously, is there a mod here who can mute him because he's
Alright,
not
now-
contributing to the
Mod here?
conversation
Really?
at all?
Really? Well,
Make
I
Alaska
thought you were
shut the
perfect.
fuck up.
I thought you were perfect, dude.
Stop screaming. I hate
Yes,
that
God
you're
was good
screaming,
before
though,
creation. Yes.
like
So
everyone's
did
evil.
God have to contend against anything like child rape?
Dildo, yeah, vegan boy. I'm wondering.
No, because
You
that's
okay?
a
Aren't you the
product
guy
of
I
creation.
fucked over in the Ukraine debate because you don't know history?
Hey,
I remember
Baked
that.
Alaska, why do you sound like a Catholic priest and why are you treating vegan gains like a choir boy? Can you stop?
So
'Cause it's
if
fucked
God is good before,
If God is good and I take it in the ass,
why
like
is
you do,
why is nobody
but
muting
answer
him?
your own
Is there
question.
literally nobody in here with mod powers?
Just get a dildo and do it yourself. Do it
It's so
yourself.
weird. This guy
Yeah.
literally spends hours a day defending God, and anytime there's a semi-substantive conversation, he just trolls. Why is he allowed to do this?
Abysmal,
Seriously, why is there no one in here with mod powers?
What is he doing?
We have
Abysmal,
Why
and
is he
Neanderthal are all
in
nuts.
here?
Yo, why are
I'm
you
vegan,
tone
boy.
policing?
I'm
we have like
perfect.
three
not
people
tone
at least. With
I'm
mod
morally
powers.
Okay, I'm just muting
I
him.
don't care whether or not he gets muted. That's not my issue.
Oh, we're all
Look,
I'm just
evil and
wondering
bad.
how
look.
you guys
God,
have
okay,
video.
look. God allows evil so that we can defeat it.
You don't even
so that
like
we
Baked
can
Alaska.
No. Here's the problem.
Protestant?
Here's the problem.
God
If you're
wants us
going
to
to
be like
claim,
him.
if you're going to claim
here's
that
the
God
problem.
is
You're
all
talking about shit
good
you don't even
before all
understand.
creation, without having to contend with any evil, then why would people have to contend with evil to be good?
Because we're created
Gates-
beings. We're not gods. And
That
God wants us
that's
to be
not
like
a
him.
symmetry breaker.
Vegan Gains, have you watched? You keep trying to force this argument like you're arguing against a bunch of fucking fine-tuning like people, right?
The problem of evil
think that
doesn't
we're
You won't
make
even
it work
answer
against
simple
my
clarifying
character.
questions. You just
teleological argument
completely
for God.
checked out. So
There's other arguments for God.
You're
right?
literally lost. What are you talking about? The problem of evil does not only apply to people who believe the fine-tuning argument. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it doesn't apply to the fine-tuning argument.
Literally, how do you
Didn't you get your shit ran when you tried to debate God when Breakfast Tacos was hosting a debate?
He wants a symmetry breaker for why evil exists.
No, I'm not asking for a symmetry breaker for why evil exists. Tell me what's true of God that's not true of people that necessitates people to fight against evil in order to be good, but God doesn't have to do that.
That God is actus purus. There's no division in
Okay.
parts of God, whereas we're composite, contingent, imperfect beings and things.
So God literally created a situation where evil needed to
about the
exist.
existence of creation, for instance, that it is logically the essence of God, right, to be fully actualized in and of himself, right? ADS, absolute divine simplicity. Good luck.
So you're telling me an all good
you just
being
have a very deficient
deliberately
anthropomorphized understanding of God.
So an all good being deliberately created evil for its own
You're
sake.
trying to redefine the terms. How do you know
I'm not
what the
redefining
good
any
is?
terms.
How do you know what well, you're creating a tautology, right?
No, I'm not. We've already been through this, and you couldn't even answer a simple
you're assuming
question.
that the definition includes something about goodness. Does goodness exist outside of God?
It doesn't matter.
Is that what you're assuming?
It does not matter.
It does matter.
No, it doesn't. It literally does not matter for the. It does not matter for the case of this argument. It does not matter for the case of this argument.
It absolutely does.
Look,
if
we can just fundamentally
fully actualize, there is nothing outside of him that he isn't the cause of, you dum dum.
It doesn't matter for this argument.
So then you're just shadowboxing at this point. You're just arguing against your own figment of your
God
own
all
imagination.
Good? Is God all
Dude,
good?
You're literally
is God all good?
Dude,
is God all
so
good?
you believe in a God
is
that
God
can
all
be
good?
no different from
is God all good? See, you can't even answer a simple yes or no question. You can't even answer a simple no question. Is God all good? Is God all good? Is God all good?
All these squares make
That's his only
God all
fallback.
good?
Is God
Is
good?
God all
Is God
good? Is God all
and
good?
then we go, you're begging
Yeah,
the question.
so no. Begging the question is not asking a question. You don't know what question begging is.
I'm so fucking gay. Oh, is God good?
You're not winning the argument by not answering clarifying questions. So is God all good? Is God all good? Is God all good? Well, you know what? I know this about your God. Apparently, he's 5.5 foot tall. 5.5 feet tall. He's a Jew. He's scrawny and weak.
You're not winning anything. You're a fucking lol cow. You're a lol cow, dude.
She's got good. Shut up.
You're literally making something up. You're the one crying about begging the question, dog. What are you talking about? Wait, can we like be real with each other? Does anybody
Welcome to
actually
the
think
abyss,
Abismo-
vegan
Does
games.
literally a single person in this VC actually think Abismo has given a proper response to the problem of evil? Literally one
I
person.
just think, honestly, this entire debate's a joke. I mean, it's literally 11 o'clock. Come on.
I don't think Abismo.
Yeah, he can't even answer a simple question of whether or not God is all good.
Questions.
I was.
I don't think you guys know what the problem is.
Your response to
He
the
still
problem
won't
of
answer.
evil was that you don't believe in fine-tuning, therefore it's not compelling. You have no idea what you're talking about, Abismo.
I don't appeal
Literally,
to
you're lost.
fine-tuning
Now, I will
argument for
say
the
this,
existence
though.
of God. What are you guys talking about?
So is God all good? Yes or no?
Jesus fuck.
Yeah, you said you're better than God.
Become Christian. Is God all good? Is he a good God? What are you? That's a stupid fucking question. Yeah, right. You're really advocating for your faith really well. This is why everyone thinks Christians are fucking retarded.
Yeah, but we have St. Thomas Aquinas, who is actually the most intelligent man to ever exist. So.
Oh, really?
No way.
So, what diseases did he ever cure?
He cured the disease of going to hell. That's
He
what he
takes
did.
from Aristotle and contradicts the fuck out of himself. How is he the smart bro? Andrew Wilson, where he reads that shit on stream and like, oh look at that contradiction. Holy
Andrew
shit.
Wilson debates women.
Oh,
That's like
shit.
the lowest standard. He's like Ben Shapiro. Well, he just debates retards all the
So,
time.
since
Who cares?
Abismo is too much of a coward and a liar to even engage with me, Trez.
Yeah, ad hominems, and you're too
That's
gay.
not
you're too gay to
that's
even
not an
know
ad
you're
hominem. That's a
good, dude.
statement of fact. You won't even
You suck
answer
too
a
many
simple
dicks.
question.
You suck too many dicks that your intellect is
Oh,
darkened.
I make you
Why
think about
is the
sucking
argument
dicks?
that
That's
he's
weird.
gay?
I
What?
thought that
Yeah.
was unholy or something. Do Christians normally think about
Why is that?
sucking cock all the
Oh
time?
wow! Look
Do
at
I
this.
have that
Look,
effect on
look
you?
at the
Do
look
I
at
have
the
that
virtue
effect on you?
signaling,
Yeah,
everybody.
do I have
Here's the
that effect
virtue
on you?
signaling.
Are my
I'm
muscles
on
turning
a
you
bad,
on? Is this
dude.
turning you on right now?
What?
This
Real
guy,
Why?
vegan
So fucking
bro.
coke, dude. Oh my
Why?
god, dude.
Yeah,
I'm not
so
listening to
so
it.
Trez.
Why does everyone?
Dude.
Why
So
does everyone
Trez,
keep calling
What a
vegan
fucking
gains
gay
gay?
boy,
I
dude.
don't
Look at my
understand.
muscle.
I'm just
vegan
gonna
gains,
mute.
man.
I'm just gonna mute Abismo because there's no point in even listening to him. So Trez, I have a problem with your statement that this is the best possible world. You think the best possible world includes child rape?
Sure. Okay, even worse things than that. But okay.
Okay, so would the best possible world include more child rape?
It includes hell, which is a real possibility. So yes.
So the more people who go to hell and suffer and do horrible things, the better the world is.
It literally says in the Bible to not
Bro,
try and
he already
understand.
So are you gonna answer?
Beesmo's answering. I don't know if you muted him for real, for real.
Yeah, I muted Abismo. He's not engaging with anything I say. So
He's answering your question.
no, he's not. Okay, I'll unmute him. He's probably just gonna say stupid fucking bullshit.
He sees, and we're all deterministically I get predestined to make certain choices, then everything would be like contingent upon God, right? If he was the cause of everything. But that relies on a huge assumption about what it means to be a human person. So by mere fact of just shifting the burden, said I'm not responsible for any of my actions, therefore no one else could. So everything
I'm
is
not
the fault
arguing
of God,
determinism.
including plastic toys going up your fucking
I'm not
asshole.
arguing determinism. Nothing about my argument
does it
had anything to do with determinism.
You didn't put the plastic toy in your butthole. It just happened to be
so
there
why would I
when
unmute
it was
this guy?
going into your butthole, right?
Why do we keep going into buttholes?
Yeah, like, well, apparently that's a thing with Christians and Catholics.
Catholics
Priests
too.
really like
Yeah.
that, so yeah, maybe somebody wants to watch out with this guy. So, like, do you think you're advocating for your faith effectively when
No,
you
I mean,
just
I
play
just
these
find
stupid
it
games?
ironic how the irony is lost
Vegan
on
games.
you.
I'll give you the.
You're gonna reduce like other people around. You're gonna
This is
like
ridiculous.
signal
Not only is
while
there no
trying to
mod here,
maintain
but
that
this guy
people are just a
will
bunch of
not
deterministic
engage with
entities.
anything I fucking say.
But he is the mod. That's the thing.
Oh, he's the mod? Okay, so this is just fucking pointless.
Vegan games. Join my room, bro. Join my room.
What room?
Yeah, vegan games. Come on, man.
I'll make it right now. I'll tag you. I'll tag you.
Vegan games. We're here for you, dude. Come on, let's go.
Okay, so the threat of evil or the possibility of it is necessary for absolute free will. For humans to engage in absurdity.
We don't have
which
absolute
is
free will.
evil. The possibility of evil necessitates absolute.
Why do you say we don't have? Wait. Why do you say we don't have absolute free will?
Can you jump to the moon? Can you live forever? Can you kill 1 million people with your bare hands?
Okay, yeah, it's not.
That's
okay,
like
okay,
superpowers and movie stuff.
Yes, that would increase your free will.
morality-
Do you think somebody who's mentally disabled and can't walk has less free will than you do?
Hold on. Hello, can you hear me? Stupid
Yeah,
PC.
I can hear you.
Okay. A guy who not really. I mean, a guy who's like in a wheelchair can still like Stephen Hawking.
No, I'm saying if you're mentally disabled and in a wheelchair, do you have less free will than you do?
No, I don't think so.
No? You have exactly the same level of free will. What does free will mean to you?
I don't think physical. I don't define it in physical.
Free
categories.
will.
So
Free
somebody who's
will
mentally
is a
disabled
function or ability to choose between two or more alternative, one or more alternatives.
Okay, can somebody who's mentally disabled
Well,
and can't
here's
move their
vegan-
arms or
vegan
legs, are they
games.
capable of raping a child?
Vegan gains. in classical theism, to have
No,
free will
just answer the
is to be
question. Just answer
contingent,
the
which
question.
means
If you're
that
mentally
it's
disabled
because
and
of your
can't move your arms or leg,
imperfection
are you
and
capable of
you're
raping a
fully
child?
unable to actualize your own
If you're
being,
mentally
that you have
disabled
to
and
make
can't move your arms or
choices.
legs, are you capable of raping a
Yes,
child?
yes, yes, you
How
are.
the hell
Having
does
to
that
make
work?
choices
How
is a
you can-
logical imperfection, right?
I mean, if you want to get technical,
How do you rape a child if you literally can't move and you can barely think? Do you know what rape is? So is anybody going to answer this honestly? If you're mentally disabled and you can't move your arms or legs, how can you rape a child? So I thought you just said in order to express free will, you need to be able to do things like rape a child.
Can you use a better example?
No, that example works perfectly suitably and fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, just keep
It's
the
a good
language on the
example
rails.
of evil to fight against, right? Which apparently is really important to Catholics.
Right, so if we have if you're saying we have unlimited ultimate free will, then I just explained to you how we don't.
No. That's precisely what we're not saying, right? That's
Well,
the thing. That's
what
what
we're not.
leveling
That's
in
precisely
your definition
what we're
of-
not saying.
Yeah.
That's what
Crazy
Trez
statement.
said. So there are people with more and less
Instead of
free
just
will.
saying that's not what we're saying, he says that's precisely.
I think you may have heard him wrong.
There are people with more and less free will, correct? Not.
And what is that conditioned on? That's conditioned precisely because of material circumstances, right?
Right.
It's not just a matter they can imagine or feel a particular way and have a choice presented to them that they wouldn't else be able to make, right? Whether for existential reasons or for psychological reasons.
So do mentally disabled people who are at birth quadriplegics, do they automatically go to heaven?
No, we're not saying that but if your question is about free will, yeah, people who suffer from material evils would have less free will than other people. That's correct.
So who created the material evil to give somebody a birth defect?
So you could say that it's like in the Thomistic schema, right? There's like first order cause and then there's second order causation, right? So like God could be the cause and sustainer for all of the material world. And I'm just using material in parentheses or hypothesis here because, once you start getting into like quantum physics, it doesn't really operate, based on our materialistic assumptions. But to get back to the point, right? So it's like God creates a meteor, right? And God creates a second meteor, and the conditions by which you could have, meet like the formal laws of physics or whatever you want to call them, right? And one meteor hits the other meteor. Did God cause, right, that meteor to hit the other meteor, right? In the sense that in the sense that you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
If I were to get out of my car and take it out of park, it rolls down a hill, and then it hits somebody, who's at fault?
Yeah, but that's kind of the category error that we're talking about. So you can, in an analogous way, right, try to understand the causation of God using that particular example. But the reality why we can only speak of God in analogies is because of the imperfection of our own experience, right? So that's what I meant earlier in a more crass way by you're taking this experience that you have as a human being and you're anthropomorphizing your conception of God based on your own human understanding.
You don't just get to back out of these problematic issues by saying,
no. This isn't
God's
a God
really,
of the
really
gaps.
Special.
This isn't a God of the gaps theory. The concept of God is if there is a God, right, that it would have to be something outside of the conditions of material experience. That's been the classical definition of what God is.
Look, if God put us on Earth to be
because there
judged,
can't be another cause for the cause of everything else in the universe. So we're not talking about the sum total of everything that exists in the universe is God. No, we're not talking about that. Neither are we talking about the summum bonum or the sum of all good things. We don't mean that as a totality, that which is God. We're talking about that which is the source and the cause for all good that exists outside of himself.
Right, but again, the problem
isn't
here,
even under.
the problem here is who is responsible for children being born with horrible birth defects? You could maybe make some excuses for like human decisions, like I don't know, spilling toxic chemicals somewhere. But some of this entirely has to do with just genetic mutations that are not due to environmental hazards.
So I'm gonna spare you like the Sunday school level of Book of Genesis, it was Adam and Eve's fault. We don't have to go there, right? But so when it comes to people with material defects, right? If you believe that there are objective facts in the world, right? Let's just say just scientific and epistemic ones, right? Then you would know that some principles of evolution are demonstrable, right? Some of our theories about evolutionary mutation and adaptation are demonstrable, right? Even in our observations. Well, then you could, I guess, like come to know or theorize or formulate that genetic expression is pretty messy, right? Across like the whole animal kingdom or even matter itself, right? So is there a possibility or potentiality according to the own conditions of materiality for things not to be expressed as harmoniously as possible? Sure, right? But I guess in your worldview, God would still be responsible because he created the conditions by which you could have genetic aberrations exist in the first place, right? I can be sympathetic if you put it under that kind of a framing, but I think I guess the religious answer would be it's less about the material evil that exists, because it's not that the evil exists necessarily, because the whole of creation doesn't have to exist, but that it exists is a better good than if it didn't exist in the first place.
But
and the religious
issue
call
there,
or the spiritual call is going to be, hold on, Itachi. The spiritual call is going to be to, I guess, use those opportunities where things could be better, to engage, with them, in a more harmonious way. That's the best a religious or spiritual person can give you.
But the issue there is if God is all good, why would he just not have those conditions exist? Like Smith-Lemley-Opitz, we actually know exactly why it exists. It's when two people have an allele that causes an enzyme that converts 7-dehydrocholesterol reductase into fully formed cholesterol. Though you end up having man and a woman create a child, the child is born with those two alleles, and they end up becoming severely mentally disabled and physically disabled. And actually, Smith-Lemley-Opitz is hypothesized to cause a lot of deaths during pregnancy of the child. So why would he create those material conditions if he's all good?
I don't want to minimize the complexities, of the material universe or the natural universe. But I guess what I'll say is, like, how do you know, or by what criterion could you say that the world that we do have, or the reality that we do have, isn't the best of all possible realities?
Gabe, stop wasting your time with religious retards, please. Get back to stream.
Given that it is a world that is filled with conscious beings that are able to have rational reflection, predetermine, course of action and plan for themselves, and then act according to those ideas.
Well,
how do you not know that? You see what I mean?
Yeah. So again, this is kind of outlined in your own holy scripture. Like people talk about like horrible afflictions, like birth defects, death, disease. So even within your own holy scripture, these things are recognized as horrible and evil. And if it didn't exist in the world, the world would be better. So we could
It's
just go by an
material evil.
internal critique.
How?
Well, again, your own holy scripture recognizes these things as bad things.
Well,
The
then we're
thing-
going to
use
start
what
getting
you
into
already
like a
have in your
propositional
scripture.
debate about like this versus this scripture versus that scripture. That's
No.
the internal critique.
So is
well until we start engaging with the scripture, it's going to remain an external critique.
Let me ask you this.
To be fair.
Well, let me ask you this. Under the Christian worldview, is it better that there are children born with birth defects or children not to be born with birth defects?
That's not something that the Christian is claiming that we can know. Because God's plan is, is within the mind of God. No Christian is claiming to know what the mind of God is. That's why we're saying
If you don't know what the mind of God is...
Hold on, you're begging the question.
No,
that's
that's
why
not
my
question
critiques
begging.
earlier was that one would be begging the question if they could assume by what a Christian says that they could know the mind of God.
If
Now,
you
there
don't...
there are fundamentalist Christians and divine command theorists that try to, project that they do know, right? But, that's not universal across
well,
Christianity.
that creates a problem because if you don't know the mind of God, how do you not know the mind of God is evil, deceptive, horrible, wicked? Why would you even bow down to that God?
Well, because then we'll have to visit the actual facts of the matter, that's the portion of the internal critique. Then we have to go to Scripture. I mean, and then
well, you wouldn't be able to rely on Scripture because he could be malevolent, evil, wicked, and he's just lying about it. You'd expect an evil, wicked person to do that, like serial killers. They'll act really nice, kind, polite, flattering, so that they can get more victims. So God could be doing this.
Right. But then you're going to be conflating what constitutes a proof versus what constitutes certainty.
Crazy.
And they're not the same thing. You're conflating. You would be, if you want to start appealing, right, to like the Cartesian demon, it's going to matter on what you mean by a Cartesian demon. And secondly, if you don't at least accept like the regularity of your own rationale or exposure or accessibility to external facts, then you're just like a metaphysical solipsist. Then at that point, we can just settle and say, well, that's your worldview. I have my worldview where I do believe that there is an objective reality with some sort of regularity, and we can come to know things, that are more likely or more probable or plausible rather than not. You see what I mean?
The problem is you can presuppose like something like a quantum field. Like there is atheist presuppositionalism.
No,
so
hold on. Before you go to quantum field, because I do have examples to kind of help address and provide symmetry breakers, which, I'm willing to entertain you on that. But I just want to be clear, what I was referring to was like the PSR, for example.
Well, I want to wrap this up.
Worldview,
I do want to...
Once you accept the PSR, you kind of are committed to, objective facts about the world. If you don't believe that moral facts are tangible, that's going to be a separate question from the objectivity of like the material universe. So let's get back to where you wanted to go about the quantum field and stuff.
Well, no,
it's up to you.
Look,
which route do you want to go down?
Well, I don't want to continue for too much longer. I want to get back to my stream. But look, the issue here is no one here has a solution to the problem of evil other than Trez, who said we're just living in the best possible world, so whatever. The only other explanation is, I don't know. We don't know God's mind or his will. If you don't know his mind or his will, he could be an evil, malevolent being. And any kind of presuppositionalist argument wouldn't really presuppose an all-good, all-powerful God. And again, you admit you have no idea.
But we're not Catholic classical theism is not presuppositional apologetics.
Yeah, I understand.
If you've been hurt or traumatized by the precepts, like all I can say is I'm sorry, I don't like them either.
All the other arguments are still shit. It's just that this precept argument isn't even an argument.
Yeah.
It's a gaslight. But yeah, every single argument for God that Abysmal will give you doesn't grant you ontology, so it's still retarded.
Yeah, so all I have to say to this, if you take God to be all good and all powerful, there's no way to explain the world we live in other than claiming we live in the best possible world, which I don't think any rational, reasonable person would accept. Because if I ask you, would you?
Yeah, it's a pretty weak argument.
Yeah, would you, yeah?
I agree.
Yeah. So
I disagree.
If no, that's nonsense. So you would have to admit it's a good thing the Holocaust happened. It's a good thing that children get raped. It's a good thing that there's disease, which is just absurd. If you think those are good things, then you would advocate for not stopping any wars, not stopping any children.
There are
from getting
evil
raped.
things that allow for a super
that was
abundance
precisely
of
the
good.
problem with German idealism. It literally led to Nazi socialism.
Yeah, so if you are going to admit that you don't know God's mind, then I don't know why you'd worship any God, because that God could be horrible, could be completely antithetical to you, anything you value. So yeah, I don't even understand why anybody would ever believe in God in the first place, let alone a Christian God.
Right, and that's why like the central Christian dogma is not going to try to define or rationalize about God in the abstract without Jesus Christ. So for Christians, we say our claim is that Jesus was in fact the Son of God, and he is our pathway and gateway to knowing those things about God, but it's only through Jesus.
Well, there's no way to
Right?
know that. He could have been
That's a
a guy.
that's a wholly, whether or not you want to believe that Jesus is the Son of God or not is a separate question from the concept of God. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not like a Muslim who is saying that, yeah, you know, my God is all powerful and therefore you have to believe it or else you're not worshiping the most powerful thing. That's never been the classical theist argument. It's always been, well, apparently, you know, this guy Jesus claimed that he was the Son of God. I look at his story and the facts that we actually do have, and I try to make a probable understanding account for that. And what the guy says is that he's not talking about like a material exchange of value. He's talking about a spiritual exchange of value that only my heart can actually understand. Well, do I agree with him when I actually read like the Old Testament, you know, into the New Testament and what his teachings are? Does it speak to my heart? And that's going to be a personal decision, because the aspect of salvation, right? It isn't the salvation is not a logical necessity. It's a normative one. That's how it is for Catholics, at least.
Yeah, I think the idea of worshiping a 5.5 foot tall, illiterate Jew who is weak and scrawny that everybody thought was crazy is just a ridiculous fucking idea. There's no evidence that Jesus was the Son of God. He was just a crazy guy who ended up...
I want to affirm, and vegan, I want to affirm your choice to be able to do that.
Yeah.
In the best possible way, right?
Oh,
and
we
because
can
of all I can
choose,
say that as
yeah.
a Christian, because I do believe that Jesus is the Son of God. I, in fact, regardless of how vulgar I can get with people, you know, you and your worldview, I do in fact want the best possible world for you in the material world that we both share. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I think the
I don't
best
think
possible
you should be
world...
suspicious of.
Yeah,
I don't think you should always be suspicious of whether or not people who do worship, right, you know, creature, you know, or what you believe is just merely like a creature, a 5 foot man or 5'5" man. You shouldn't necessarily be suspicious of that until proven otherwise. Wouldn't that be fair?
No, I would assume he's not God, and then I'd have to see evidence.
You wouldn't be able to take me at my word that despite, you know, my own vulgarity towards you, that when I tell you that I still have like both the best intentions for the best possible outcome for you.
I don't think you have the best possible intentions.
The best justification for Jesus being God is the miracles that he performed.
You hire me.
Where's evidence
as
for the
your
miracles?
Vegan. You hire me to be your real estate agent, okay? And you're like, hey, I need to sell my house, and I need to buy one, okay? And I make my sales pitch to you. Here, vegan, this is why you can trust me. This is how many fucking houses I fucking sold in the past year. This is how many fucking people I helped buy their fucking first homes, right? Tell me about yourself, why you need to, you know, buy a house, you know, what are all, and is that not enough, right, to convince you that what I know, right, regarding what you need to have happen or what your intentions aren't going to be enough?
Jesus was
to service
illiterate.
Whatever best possible outcome
he was
for
an
you.
uneducated, illiterate man.
That's my point, though.
So God
right?
was uneducated and illiterate and 5 foot tall and scrawny and weak?
Worship? But what does the worship of a 5'6", right, Jewish man in like
Who's
fucking
illiterate,
uneducated?
uneducated.
Actually, that's actually not true. Like based on the facts we do have, that's not a plausible assumption you could make about the person
What
of
literature has he ever written?
Jesus. So he was a rabbi, right?
You can be an illiterate rabbi.
No.
And
If he was a rabbi, if he was a rabbi, that presupposes that he was probably a Pharisee at the time, because that was he was. Oh my gosh. So both in the story, right, in the in the Gospels, even the Sadducees and Pharisees refer to him as the rabbi, a rabbi. So they recognize as part of their religious authority. That's why they believe that they could question him and figure out what his intentions were. So if he was in fact a rabbi, it means that he was trained, right, within the Jewish schools.
So I'm looking this up.
He would have been exposed to Jewish philosophy.
Yeah, so I'm looking this up.
So
I'm looking this up.
The
This is
whole
according
like
to
Jewish.
Jew in the City. Jesus wasn't a rabbi as we use the term today, i.e. obtained Jewish clergy, but like Brooklyn Nine-Nine's Captain Holt, he may have been one colloquially insofar as he was a teacher. So he wasn't a rabbi.
No, that's not true. So the Jews didn't have. So you know Judaism changes after like 200 AD, right?
It doesn't.
So after the Second Temple.
Yeah, so he
that's
wouldn't
when
have
you
had
have
to be
the
literate.
Mishnah. So I mean, you're familiar with the Mishnah, right?
He wouldn't have
in
to be
200
literate.
AD. If he was literate.
Okay, so what literature did he write?
You don't have to write in order to demonstrate that you're literate. What the hell does this mean?
Yes, you would have to either prove that you can read or write in order to prove you're literate.
Yeah, how do you prove that he could read
so
when other people are
did
writing
Jesus
about
not have any interest in writing any literature that would be passed on to future generations?
So do you remember when Jesus shows
that's
up
a
in
yes
Nazareth?
or no question.
Sorry, so what was the question again?
Would Jesus not have had an interest in writing literature so that it would be passed on to future generations?
Yeah, but just because he doesn't meet your hypothetical criterion or standard to prove that he was literate, right? Like,
so God was literate, and he came to Earth to teach people, but he didn't have any foresight to create literature that would be passed on to future generations.
You're
do you see the implausibility
your
with the story?
modern assumptions on the way people lived in that time, in
so
their
God
life.
would know that people
Hold
in
on,
future
dude,
generations
No,
would
you're trying
benefit from
dude,
literature.
You're literally starting to move the goalposts because
No,
you know
not.
you're not going to win.
No, I'm not moving any goalposts.
When I asked you, right, how
Pontius
in
Pilate.
the text that we do have, would you be able to demonstrate that Jesus was in fact literate? How?
Pontius Pilate is coming for you. Pontius
If
Pilate
other
is coming
people
for you.
wrote about the life of Jesus, what are some ways that they could demonstrate that he was literate?
Yeah, they could have talked about him reading and writing.
Okay, and does that happen in the New Testament?
I'm not sure.
It does.
Okay.
So in Nazareth, I'm trying to give you the story.
Sure.
Like in he goes back to Nazareth, his hometown, and they don't freaking believe him. And this was the first instance where they actually try to stone him because he reads from the scroll of Isaiah, because they ask him to read during the synagogue. So if you know anything about like Jewish synagogue practice, it always involved the Torah reading, right? That's the first part of the Catholic Mass, right? Where we have first readings, we read from the Old Testament.
Can you show me anything from the Gospels indicating that Jesus
Luke
read
chapter 4:16.
Luke.
Oh, I was going to ask what's his justification for the Bible? Just his epistemic justification.
The Quran says that Allah
and
taught
then
Isa how to write and read, so it's
he
correct.
went to Nazareth where he had been brought up, and on the Sabbath day he went
Stop
to the
laughing,
synagogue.
bro. The Quran
As
says
was his custom,
Allah taught
he
Isa
stood up to read.
how to read and
Okay.
write, so he did read and write.
Yeah.
Khalas, he read and write.
And then John 8, verse 6.
John 8:6. Okay, there is mention of him reading.
Of course he could read.
It said, tempting him, they might not accuse him, but Jesus. So I'm like, the implausibility with the story, though, God himself would have no interest in writing any literature to pass down on future generations and relied it to his disciples who wrote about him decades later.
What's that?
God would have not had an interest in creating any literature to pass down knowledge to future generations, and instead left it to other fallible human beings who wrote about his story decades later. That's the best.
Yeah. Just like Jesus was comfortable enough giving particular authority to his own apostles in the forgiveness of sins, the casting out demons.
Is God lazy?
He entrusted, but
God's lazy.
That's kind of the. You can consider that maybe lazy or not, and I understand because of your earlier argument. Yeah, I understand. Okay, I'm sympathetic to your worldview because your worldview requires a logical necessity between God's action and the way the world is right now.
Yeah.
I get it. But when I read the story, right, the reason I don't try to justify what God is outside of these sources. You get what I mean? No.
So this all just comes down to faith, and you admit it's
experience.
irrational. Okay, got it.
Well, no, it's not. It's not irrational. There
It's
are rational
irrational.
components to how we should connote. It's non-rational.
Yeah, God's lazy. He wouldn't bother to write anything himself.
And
He'd leave it up to his disciples.
Yeah. No, I'll put it to you like this, vegan. Okay, by faith, we don't mean that it's not with reason. Okay, when we're talking about faith, we're talking about trust in terms of a promise, right?
Good way to get people to trust you is to make sense and write things yourself and pass down knowledge that nobody else could get otherwise. But yeah, it all just comes down to faith. It's irrational. It makes no fucking sense. You can poke tons of holes in the story.
When you were growing up, do you know that your mom's going to feed you whenever you feel hungry, or do you trust that she's going to feed you? Another way, I'll invert it. Have you ever been disappointed by your parents when you were growing up? Of course. Now you get it.
So God's a disappointment. Gotcha.
I mean, for some people, yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean,
right. This is
like vegan. The way I experience
I'm seeing
God,
it now.
Yeah,
God is a disappointment. He's lazy. He didn't have the forethought to write anything down himself. He never taught anybody about any really serious moral issues. Don't eat meat on the Sabbath. Make sure you don't do that. But slavery,
if you believe,
If you believe I'll leave that to Americans thousands of years later to abolish slavery.
If you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, the story is, and the meaning is that God created this world so we could participate in it.
Right. So
and He wants you to
trust. Right.
So God became
right. So God became a 5.5 foot tall, scrawny guy. Got hung up on a cross, and before he died, he said, "Guys, just make sure nobody eats meat on the Sabbath. Just make sure. Slavery, whatever. But make sure nobody eats meat on the Sabbath."
Because what God wanted to come wasn't to build a material utopia. It was to give you a spiritual future.
Or maybe it's because people eat meat on the Sabbath that we have all the problems.
Right.
If you cherish
a spiritual future. So
if you cherish the world that you only know,
so
what Jesus is saying is that's not enough. So I came here so I could free you from your own, creation or your own material circumstances.
Okay,
I
so
came here to open the door,
right,
for something greater than just what you know.
Okay, so why are people born mentally disabled to a point where they can never learn about Jesus or the Bible?
Yeah, so you're still not right, but how do you know, right, that even people who are materially deficient in that way, whether they can't hear the words of Jesus because they're deaf, or they can't see and therefore can't read like the words of Jesus, how do you know that those
we
people
can tell for sure
don't? But hold on, how do you know that those people don't have spiritual value because they don't have material value? How do you know that?
Well, they could have spiritual value, but that doesn't mean they're Christian.
Our gospel, right? But that's precisely what our gospel affirms. Is that what our gospel tells us?
Do non-Christians go to heaven?
That people have intrinsic spiritual value, and that's have a higher good.
Do non-Christians go to heaven?
I don't know that. Again, that's to presume that I know the mind of God. But I have trust and faith. Yeah.
Do Christians go to heaven?
In
I have
Catholicism,
no
I believe
idea,
that
dude.
they believe that if
There's
you are
plenty of
not
terrible
So there's
Christian,
okay.
Christians,
So
man.
there's no reason to be
Think about-
Christian
think
because
about-
there's no way to know if any of these things will even be granted to you. It could all be a lie. We could just go to a land of
there will
infinite
be
darkness.
no material reason that will ever satisfy your intellectual curiosity of whether or not you should be a Christian or not.
Okay, so
Never.
God wants me to be Christian, but He's given me no
Because-
reason to become Christian. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
there's no logical necessity
Right.
as to why you should believe in God.
Right.
Precisely.
Right. Okay, so there.
We agree.
That sums it up. Okay, we're done.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah, we're done.
Again, I'm not a precept, right? This is the classical theist argument.
there's no reason to be Christian. Coming from a guy who wants people to be Christian.
There
Okay.
is no logical necessity. You're absolutely correct.
Okay, well, take care. Thanks for
You're
the
not, you're
chat.
not really good at arguing.
It's not about
These people are just hilarious. My God. Luke Skywanker donated try turning off streamer mode in Discord, top of screen, then try to copy invite link. Well, I've tried that, but it doesn't work. I also think streamer mode isn't in top of the screen. It's at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so now that works. You can try jumping in the Discord now. Thanks for the donation, Luke Skywanker. Son Goku donated tell her, is she speaking facts or delusional? Let me see. Huge reason why so many women are still single in their 30s because men wasted their time in their 20s. I know so many women that wanted to get married in their early mid. Okay.
Boda y la boda pa' cuándo? ¿En qué momento Jennifer López
This is...
sacó esa canción del anillo pa' cuándo? Que anda que no me la han cantado. Y bueno, es que es algo que no depende de mí.
Yo le digo siempre, cuando der el clic, como pasó muchas cosas en nuestra vida, ya los dos saben lo que me estoy refiriendo, que puede ser en un año, como puede ser en 6 meses, como puede ser en un mes.
What the fuck is this about? Now, so many women that wanted to get married in their early mid-20s, but the guy they dated kept putting off the marriage only to break up, meeting a new guy and have the same thing happen, wasting more years. Man-child afraid to commit are just as much of a problem as boss feminist. Oh my God. Women are just fucking stupid. If they're leaving you, it means you're not worth it. Or you're just not good enough for them. You're not what they're looking for. Oh, it's not my, like, what does anybody owe you? No one owes you anything. Just meet somebody who has the same goals or interests when it comes to making a family. Like, these women are so stupid. Thanks for the donation, Son Goku. Dodo Donatellers found where Frank got his idea for sourdough cookies.
This is a ship's biscuit. It's hardtack.
No, that's not where he got it. Not at all. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Those things are crackers, basically. They're not cookies. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Dodo Donatellers, Christians, God can make a shadow bright. VG, God can prevent child rape and preserve free will. Christians, how do you know that? Yeah, really. Oh my God. So God can make something happen that is literally logically impossible, but then they'll deny that God could allow for free will and prevent child rapes, which is perfectly logically possible. Oh my God, VG, these people are just ideologues. Do you need me to come help you debate them 2v2 debate? I'd actually be interested to know what you sound like, because I've never actually listened to you talk. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. They're not worth it. Like, I don't even... Like, I did it for the ments, but they're not worth talking to. Grandam donated $2. Let me see. Yeah, I've already listened to this. I'm not sure if it's real. It's plausible, and it does sound exactly like what J.D. Vance would say.
The carnivore diet, so...
Okay, I'll watch that later.
What is the life expectancy of the
I'll watch that later. Thanks for the donation, dude. Demon Cunt donatellers. Big John Steele is willing to talk about veganism with you. He's the guy that destroyed on the debate on the Bible. You mean that I destroyed? Is he still streaming?
Father, wait. Every
Are you
single
lying?
person that ever exists will say that Jesus Christ is Lord for the glory of God.
I think you're lying. Thanks for the donation, Demon Cunt.
Lamau, keep moving the goalpost.
Oh, that guy was so fucking evasive. And you know exactly why he was being evasive. Like, look, he literally admitted at the end, Christianity makes no logical sense. Everything God does in the Bible is completely and utterly irrational. And the reason he's Christian and everything is entirely for emotional reasons. Like, he accused me of question begging when I was asking a question. How does that make sense? I wasn't making any propositions. Like the dude's just a joke. Total waste of time. Thanks for the donation, Jason Cock. Demon Cunt donate $2. You're a fucking moron. Jesus is called Rabbi in Matthew. That doesn't mean he's a rabbi. And literally read from Old Testament. You're actually stupid. Go debate this topic with Big John Steele so you can get fried. Sure. Thanks for the donation, dude. Jason, clip fucker, tit liquor, donate $2. Anyway, go fuck yourself. Is this guy on roids? Yeah, he very likely is. I would say he probably is. Yeah, he's on steroids. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't. Probably is. Thanks for the donation, dude.
I'll debate you on this. My balls are really small. If you think my balls are big, you'll debate.
I'll take your word for it. Thanks for the donation, non-wib. Demon Cunt donate $2. Go debate Big John Steele on the Bible, not some idiot Christian who says Christianity isn't a logical necessity. He cooked you. He did not cook me. Thanks for the donation, Demon Cunt. Oh my god. Got people waiting in Discord.
Nigga, I'm trying to unwind from work and watch some Frank from her last streams, and Dodo just keeps donoing gay shit like SDFU. Nigga, I'm trying to watch Frank and VG.
Alright, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Thanks for the donation, dumbass. Yeah, what up? Your mic is muted and you're deafened. I don't know if he realizes that. Who are you? Hello? Chris, hello? 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 Why in the fuck did people ask for the Discord link? Demon Cunt, donate $2. Bros running from Big Sean Steele, coward. I've debated him like 2 or 3 times now, and they did not have an answer for a problem of evil. They literally took a position where God can be all good, but does not have an interest in creating the best possible world. Which sounds antithetical to the idea of being all good. Thanks for the donation, Demon Cunt. Okay, I don't know why people ask for the... Why does anybody ask for the Discord? Why? Why do you do that? Why do you tell me to put the link in fucking chat?
Tribe that you embedded with.
So this is a super interesting question. So the Hadza, and I would say across the board when it comes to hunter-gatherers, and really you see this pattern in indigenous culture.
The average life expectancy across all of Tanzania, I think, is either 60 or 65. So yeah, 66.78 years. That's across all of Tanzania. Kenya 62, Nambia 58. Africa has a very, very low life expectancy. When you look at hunter-gatherers, it's even lower. So the Hadza in Tanzania, they have an average life expectancy of, I think, like 36. and it only goes up to like 38. Hadza life expect. It only goes up to like 30. Yeah, it goes up to like 38 or something. If you account for childhood mortality. Even though the life expectancy at birth is only 31 and a half, there are plenty of very old Hadza. A person who makes it to age 18 is likely to live to be 60, and one who makes it to 45 is likely to be 66. So if you account for childhood mortality by age 8, it only goes up to like 36 or something? Like mid-30s. So no shit. If somebody lives to 18, they have a way higher likelihood of making it to fucking 60 because they're better. They're just physically stronger people, but like that's cheating. That like we could play the same game. Oh, well, if you just ignore all the things that could kill you by age 80, well, if you don't account for any of that, oh, well, if you live to 80, you're likely to live to 100. Like, what does that do? Nothing. So, no shit. So that's just stupid. Fucking Springer. So, yeah, the average life expectancy in fucking Tanzania is 66. So when they say, oh, well, if you make it to age 18, you're likely to make it to 60, like, that's just fucking stupid. So they live very short lives on average. And, what's his name? Liver King went to Tanzania and met the Hadza. No one in that fucking tribe, I mean, no one was over 30. No fucking chance. Anybody in the video that he shot was over 30.
Cultures across the world, they have high rates of maternal and infant mortality. And that means that there are
why do you think that is, dipshit?
Higher rates of kids dying and mothers dying in childbirth.
Why do you think that is, dipshit? Do you think it might be because of their terrible diet and lifestyle?
But if you average it across the lifespan, that brings down their total life expectancy because the infant mortality and maternal mortality is so high. But that's not...
Demon Cunt donated $2. Their point was you presupposing utilitarianism, you dumb cunt. Also, is he on roids? I wasn't presupposing anything, and yeah, he's probably on roids. Thanks for the donation, Demon Cunt.
Related to chronic illness, right? That's being a child or a mother in the wild, giving birth in the wild is sometimes dangerous.
Well, yeah, no shit. Lack of medical care is also going to influence mortality, but again, how are you going to say these people are fucking healthy if they're all dying before they reach 40? It's just stupid.
Dangerous. When I was with the Hadza at their camp, there are 2 to 3-year-olds just...
Paul Saladino Hadza. I don't know if he's made videos. I know he made some posts on... I know he made posts on Instagram. It doesn't look like he made any of his own YouTube videos, and I think it's because he knew it looked really damning. Liver King. They look like shit. They look fucking terrible. Like, if... Let me see. African tribes, Liver King, Tanzania. This might be the Maasai video. Yeah, that wasn't the Hadza. These are the Hadza, I think.
Raining, so I would like to say rain or shine.
Yeah, these are the Hadza. Tell me if you notice anybody who looks like they're 60.
Because you got big muscles too. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, anybody look 60 here?
You're ready to...
Anybody look 60?
When it comes to training for powerlifting, I want to get my deadlift/squat to advanced numbers. What would my split look like in a deadlift/squat specialization phase? Volume, frequency, weight, proximity to failure, etc. Gorilla emoji.
It entirely depends what you're doing for training. Like, the majority of your training is going to have to be hypertrophy training. So that's what builds the muscle mass required in order to get stronger. But I don't know if you'd want to specialize squat and deadlift at the same time. You may want to specialize for squat and then specialize for deadlift later. You could do that, but basically you're just going to put all your other lifts at like maintenance volume or near maintenance volume. So only do like 1 or 2 sets per exercise for like upper body lifts, and then, you know, do 3, 4, maybe 5 sets for your lower body lifts. But yeah, majority of your training is really just going to be hypertrophy training, just building the muscle mass you need to lift heavier. Why is Streamlabs being fucking retarded? Yeah, so muscle mass so cross-sectional area of muscle is the biggest determinant for how strong you are. So again, the majority of your training is going to be hypertrophy training. And if you're having a difficult time bringing up a given lift, then you're just going to have to focus on building the muscle larger. But again, I don't know if you'd want to specialize squat and deadlift at the same time. If you don't find specializing those 2 lifts at the same time too fatiguing, then go for it. And then when you move on to a strength phase, I think the biggest mistake a lot of people make when they're on strength phases is they lift too heavy, paradoxically. So you want to make sure that you're not training to failure. You really want to avoid failure, and you want each rep in the set to move pretty quickly. So that's the biggest mistake people make when they're actually doing the real strength training. But if you look at the videos that I posted online with my like road to 405, like the weights were always moving very quickly. I very rarely ever had slow grinders. They were all like very fast, quick movements. You really want to avoid grinders. So just make sure you're starting with reasonable and accurate percentages, or just, you know, go by RIR if you're not using any percentages with your lifts. But yeah, you just have to get bigger. That's the biggest thing. So primary thing to focus on is just hypertrophy training. Get your legs, glutes, hamstrings, back bigger. And then when you move on to a strength phase, just make sure the weights are moving quickly and you avoid grinders. And that would cover most of, you know, what you need to know. As far as volume, like, again, that's going to be very individual. Frequency, probably twice per week for lower body is just fine. Especially for deadlift, you really don't need much frequency. But hope that answers your question. Thanks for the donation, Death of Rabbit. Yeah, so do you notice anybody who's around 60 years old yet? Anybody who looks like they're over 60 years old yet? No? No? Still no? Yeah, nobody. Nobody in this tribe of retarded backwoods idiots is fucking 60. So all of these people you see here, they're probably going to die by the time they make it to 35. Who here looks 60? Anybody? No. And they look like shit. They have rotten fucking teeth. They look skinny and weak. Like, look at this guy's teeth. This guy is probably like 20, and his teeth are already rotting out of his fucking head. So, yeah. Look how healthy they are. They all die by the time they make it to 40, and they have rotten-ass, shit-ass fucking teeth. They're scrawny and weak. Jason, cocktit, fuck your ass, donate tellers. No, you were moving the goalpost. Go fuck yourself, suck dick anyway. When are you getting a car? I don't know, and not that gay ass bike you drive around. Also, look how cute this dog is. Yeah, I'm not gonna show that. That's really weird. Thanks for the donation. Demon, donate tellers. You debate idiot Christians, then get all gassed up, but you never want to get back after big job. Steele showed you as big. Debate cock. Go debate him on Christianity again. Give us content. Maybe later. Thanks for the donation, dude.
My dick is bigger than yours. Fuck ass gay fuck jizz.
All right, well, thanks for that. Appreciate the donation, Jeffrey Dahmer. Dodo Donatellers, I love this cat. Okay.
I've seen this cat meme many times, but do you know the sad story behind this meme? This cat is named Ethel. Now she is 13 years old. In 2018, the female cat was adopted from an animal shelter. At that time, Ethel was 7 years old, and Ethel weighed 7 kilos, which made it difficult for her to move. Because of that, the owner named Mrs. Dona also controlled her diet, and now her weight is 3.6 kilos. Ethel is a blind cat from birth, and she also has no teeth. The beginning of her popularity when the owner posted this photo on Facebook and didn't expect her cat to go viral because it was often made into memes on the internet. But unfortunately, Ethel couldn't see her own meme video. Ethel has been around 6 years with the owner. Until now, her affection for Ethel has never faded. She loves Ethel no matter
what a sweet kitty.
what. It turns out that the story behind this cat meme makes you touched. Hopefully Ethel and also—
Oh, that's a nice kitty. Oh, I love kitties. People who join VG's Discord after them asking him to open it. Yeah, that's about right. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Wandering around. You could step on a rock or fall.
Luke Skywanker Donatellers, how do you eat enough during bulk? The autism makes eating very difficult for me. How did you overcome your autism to eat all those calories? Do whatever you've got to do. So, easiest way to get calories in is to, like, eat junk food. So just find a food that you find very tasty and not particularly filling. That could be, like, potato chips, Oreos, whatever, if that's what you absolutely need to do to gain weight. And again, gaining weight and getting stronger is your primary goal, then, you know, do what you got to do. But usually people can just gradually increase calories over time very slowly. So just add in like a smaller portion of food to whatever meals you're eating over time. So if you have, like, I don't know, a tablespoon of oil with a given meal, you can add, like, a tablespoon and a half or 2 tablespoons. If you have, like, I don't know, 300 grams of rice, you can have, like, 350 grams of rice, you know, stuff like that. Thanks for the donation, though, Luke Skywanker.
Off a rock. They were climbing over rocks. Snakes, wild animals can just come into camp and take them. It's, you know, there are times that these tribes go through periods of scarcity, which can affect immune function and can lead to infections, which are hard to treat for them. But if you look at the life expectancy of a Hadza hunter-gatherer or a Khoisan hunter-gatherer, there are only a few tribes remaining on the earth that are true hunter-gatherers. The Yanomono in South America have some...
Gee, it's almost as if hunter-gathering sucks and it's stupid.
So hunter-gatherer members, if you look at their life expectancy, if they reach teenage years, it's the same as ours.
Okay.
And their health span is better. We call this...
That is a lie. That is a complete fucking lie. Show us the fucking data, dipshit.
Let me go into Discord. I'm not a troll. My Discord is Dree0708.
Go fuck yourself. Go eat shit. Thanks for the donation. Paul just lied. He said the life expectancy of the Hadza is the same as an American. Average American life expectancy right now is 77. Show us the data, please. I'd love to see that. He's full of shit.
Squaring of the morbidity curve, meaning that if you took a 65-year-old Hadza hunter-gatherer and you put that individual up against the average 65-year-old American in any competition of running, climbing trees, shooting...
Doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean fucking shit.
Bows and arrows. It doesn't even have to be a skill-based competition. The Hadza tribe member would destroy us. They do not suffer.
Guess what? By the time I'm 65, I'd fucking wreck those Hadza twerps. They're all skinny. By the time they're in their 20s, their teeth are all rotting out of their fucking head. The idea that your average Hadza is by age fucking 18, they're gonna live to 77 as long as your average American? Fucking ridiculous. They're not gonna have any teeth by then. Really? You think a toothless fucking idiot whose teeth rotted out by the time they're fucking 30 is gonna live to 77 as long as your average American? Fucking retarded. And guess what? By the time I'm 65, I'm gonna be fucking jacked still. I'm gonna be in better shape than all of them. They're fucking malnourished, skinny, retarded twerps that have no teeth by that age. This guy's a fucking delusional idiot.
My God benevolent. My God is Shrek. Shrek is love. Shrek is life. Horse jizz.
I'd rather worship Shrek than whatever dumb shit god Christians worship. At least Shrek would probably stop a child rapist. Thanks for the donation, Poopy Farts.
I was considering converting to Islam until I read a hadith that said the Prophet recommended mixing camel milk and piss as a medical remedy. Yeah? I wish there was something I could believe in, but it all seems like a load of baloney.
Why in the fuck do you wish you could believe in a god? What is that gonna do for you? Like, that's just fucking stupid. It's just weak bitch, beta male, dumbass thoughts. What? You want a sky daddy to tell you what to do, run your life, tell you how to live, or do you want to live for your own interest? I don't know how a god would in any way make your life better. What? So having somebody rule over you? Does that idea sound good? Do you like being a slave? It's just stupid. Live for yourself. Live for your own self-interest. Make your own fucking rules and do with life what you will. Why the fuck would you ever have an interest in being ruled over by somebody else? It's just stupid. Thanks for the donation, Rusty Shackelford.
Why haven't you watched Hamza in a while? Also, Paul does have a point here.
No, he doesn't. He does not at all. So he's saying, oh, well, people who are genetically at a huge fucking advantage, because if they weren't, they wouldn't have been able to live that long in that environment, who are particularly physically active, are going to be more physically fit if they can survive all the issues in their environment by age 60 compared to your average American. Okay? What point is he making? Again, by the time I'm that age, 60, with my lifestyle, eating healthy, low stress, weight training like fucking crazy, having access to whatever nutrition I need, why is the Hadza lifestyle preferable to mine? Paul's just a fucking idiot. It's all LARPing, like, oh yeah, let's live ancestrally. Let's do what our ancestors do. This guy lives in a fucking mansion in Costa Rica. He's a fucking millionaire. He sells bullshit supplements to fucking retarded idiots. In what way is this guy's fucking lifestyle anything close to what hunter-gatherers do? Oh, I go out and surfboard, and then, like, I just relax indoors for a while, and then I have, like, a nice meal, and then, like, I go to my training gym in my mansion and lift some weights, and then, you know, I sit back and relax and watch some cartoons, and maybe I'll go out surfing again, and then, you know, I'll watch Netflix and chill for a while and eat another good meal. Oh, yeah, just like our hunter-gatherer ancestors. Right. Right, cool. Buy my supplements. Yeah, the ancestral supplements that I sell, so I can have this lifestyle where I don't have to work and I get to surf all day. It's just retarded. Dodo $2. This is some Andrew Tate workout protocol shit right here, VG. Oh yeah, that guy. He actually trains harder than Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate and his brother do not know how to train. Reminds me of this moment of Key and Peele. I can't watch this. You've sent me Key and Peele stuff before and it's blocked in my country. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Boner balls, 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 777,777,777,777,777.
Well, thank you for that, non-wib. Appreciate the donation.
For chronic disease the way that we do. In Western society, we have this sort of inexorable march toward decrepitude, meaning that, and we can talk about the statistics, obesity rates, diabetes, autoimmunity, even childhood, chronic illness is rising. So we know that as Westernized Americans, even though our average life expectancy may be 76, 77, I forget where exactly it is, many of us suffer with limitations in our quality of life from 30 to 40 years old till the end of our life. And Western medicine can keep us alive, but how vital are we? What is our health span? How many 60-year-olds out there who can run 5 miles or 10 miles or climb a tree?
Show me one single Hadza member who's 60 who can even run 1 mile. Show me one. Let me see, let me see if I can even find it. Is this guy running 5 miles? So this is a Hadza. Apparently he's elderly. I have no idea what his actual age is. Let's just assume he's over 50. Does this guy look like he can run 5 miles? Don't think so. Yeah. Does this guy look like he can run 5 miles? Huh? So this guy is super physically fit. Is he running 5 miles? Show me any of them doing anything. Like, it's just retarded. These people are fucking retarded. Paul Saladino's a fucking moron. These are backwoods idiots. They're not particularly physically fit.
Tree hand over hand with the balance needed to do that, or have strong enough grip strength to hang on a tree branch and do an actual pull-up, or can pull a bow back, and the Hadza make the bows themselves, right? Who could
show me a Hadza member who's 60 doing any of that?
Pull a bow back with their shoulder muscles and their back muscles, right? Who have the vision to see animals in nature, like they have they don't have macular degeneration. So these hunter-gatherer tribes do not suffer chronic disease, and that discordance is something that was—
They do suffer from chronic disease.
Was never taught to me in medical school.
Good night. React. All you wally tickles fat bitches' bellies.
Let me take a look.
Not married?
Nope.
Ever been?
Nope.
Want to be?
No.
Don't you want to?
Quef. Food. Quay.
All right, thanks for the donation, non-wib. Appreciate it.
Woman of your own?
What for?
Share your name, bear your children, be a companion.
They asked me to quit drinking, quit gambling, save my money, and to bitch about her aches and pains all day? No, thanks.
True. Based.
black.
God is absolutely black. It's in the Bible. Is it a problem, God being black?
It's not a problem, it's just not what's true.
Why can't God be black?
Why would God, the almighty creator, have a skin color?
So God creates skin color, but he don't have one.
Yeah, God created the trees too. He's not a tree. That's a stupid argument.
Yeah, that's not real. Yeah, that's... Is that real? That doesn't, like, unless there's some sort of gas inside the thing, I don't know how that could be real. Yeah, they had to have put some sort of gas in the syringe, right?
That's all I came for.
Taking some legs home.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu is kind of stupid. I love how it's a viable strategy to just roll onto your back. If you ever did that in a real fight, you just get your face stomped in.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Fuck, call the
Dude!
Whoa, that is bad. Yeah, I'd love to have a fat dude just turtling on me and then rolling on my fucking knee and blowing it out.
On your desk, shitting yourself like the rest of your kind. Well, I was out there, in the cold, in the dark, in the shit. I watch my mate. A man who saved my life.
That's even worse than Keanu Reeves when he does accents.
Get his fucking leg blown off.
He can't even keep a consistent British accent.
Appreciate. Don't make me laugh.
Oh, that's bad. I guess that's why he only did that accent once. Thanks for the donation, Rainbow Jizz.
Cool, but it's so fascinating, right? What are they doing differently than us that allows them picking up our higher rates?
Yeah, okay, so Paul's an idiot.
Well, as you guys know, carnivore diet is becoming more and more and more popular. There are thousands.
It is not becoming more popular. You can look at Google Trends.
Tens of thousands.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's... Okay, it's gone up, but it's gone down. Looks like it might have gone up a little bit again. It hit a peak in, January. Oh, I see. So New Year's resolution or something. It hit a peak in January back here, too. So yeah, it's just on the downtrend again. Nicholas Donatello's France's Food Agency just released updated guidelines on soy and isoflavone consumption and based the toxicological reference values on 2 rodent studies. They advise against serving soy in schools and elderly homes. Oh my god. The French are fucking retarded. Are rats people? Do they think that applies to humans? Do the French think they're rats? Is that why they did that? I can guarantee you that was something that was commissioned by, like, the dairy lobby or something. It has to be. That's just so stupid. Yeah, the meat and dairy lobby must have commissioned that, and then it's fucking stupid. Thanks for the donation, Nicholas.
I was out back last week and I rotated my balls trying to lift a piece. What didn't make sense was I was doing it for someone who paid me. The last thing I wanted was to take a walk with him trying to fix that, but it never happened. Now I'm stuck here.
All right, well, sorry to hear that. Thanks for the donation, non-wib.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people now that are using it. Many people you see talking about the results they're having. Most people saying very nice things. Some people saying, oh, it didn't work for me, so on and so forth. But there are people that try and, I guess, gain attention by criticizing Dine. One is this fellow by the name of Dr. James Antonio. James, I've interviewed several times. In fact, I helped promote a couple of his books, Assault Fix and his Superfuel books. I had him on my podcast. I, was nice enough to say, look, go read James's book. Now, since that time, he's been generally critical of the carnivore diet. So, fair play. I don't care. I don't care if somebody wants to support me or not. It's up to them. But what his most recent video, and he wants clicks, and I'm helping him out here again by providing him, I'm sure, some free advertising. But, I think that, the criticism he has is one is a carnivore diet is going to make you mildly acidic. You're going to have this subclinical, or not subclinical, this chronic mild acidosis going on due to things like...
There's such a thing as ketoacidosis, but your body controls like your blood pH and everything. It has to be within a certain range or you die.
Sulfuric acid, hydrogen sulfide from sulfur-containing amino acids, methionine, cysteine, and so on and so forth, and the breakdown products result in a slightly more acidic environment, and that's quote-unquote bad, according to him. And one of the main concerns he's worried about is things like renal stones. And we do know that there is a increased tendency in general populations that a more acidic environment will precipitate more renal stones. But the problem with this, and his arguments are mostly mechanistic. We can say, we can put somebody on a short...
We already know this about the keto diet. This is especially problematic for children. When children are on the ketogenic diet, they have something like a 300 times increased risk of developing kidney stones.
Term higher protein diet with lower carbs, and we can see that there's an increase in certain urinary metabolites, thus maybe being associated with increased bone turnover or the formation of stones and so on and so forth. Again, these are all invariably very short-term studies, right? So the question that becomes is, well, what happens over the long term? Are there chronic adaptations to counter these things that occur? And the answer to that is maybe, maybe not. We don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to do the studies on that. But what I will say is approximately 2 to 3 million people in the United States every year develop kidney stones, right? Not all of them are carnivore. Probably 99.9999% of them are not carnivore, right? So clearly, and probably not all on high protein diets either.
Yeah, but the issue is they'd likely be at increased risk if they followed the stupid fucking diet.
And in fact, the incidence of kidney stones...
So, like again, the research, at least on children, is already out. They had a 300 times increased risk of kidney stones on a keto diet.
The prevalence of kidney stones has gone up from 1980, around 3%, to now about 10%, and that basically corresponds to obesity and all these other metabolic issues. And so, again, this is a multifactorial condition. I do not see, if the prevalence is 10% in the general population, and the incidence is, 2 million people a year, I'm not...
That's hard to believe that 10% of people get kidney stones. I have a really hard time buying that. Prevalence of kidney stones in the United States increased from 3.8% to 8.8%. So he's not far off. What the fuck? This has to be, like... Jesus, are Americans like the most fucking fat fuck retards on the fucking planet? 1 in 10. So Canadians are fat fucks too. What the shit? I do not know 1 in 10 people who have kidney stones. This has to be like elderly or something. Think women might be more likely to get it?
I have a very skinny dick, but I know how to use it. E superscript A inverted exclamation mark.
Alright, that's good. Thanks for the donation, Vegan Runner.
Something interesting I learned recently is that when you take a jar full of hydrogen and put it on a stove, You can turn the AC on in your apartment and wait for like 10 minutes or so. It takes a while, but you will notice it. I don't understand any of it.
I wouldn't recommend doing that, but thanks for the donation on Wib. Obesity, metabolic syndrome identified as risk factors. Bone fractures increase risk of kidney stones. Chronic kidney disease. Increased salt and protein consumption and the rising prevalence of metabolic syndrome. So, this guy recommends overweight diabetics to follow the carnivore diet. And risk factors are obesity, metabolic syndrome, high protein intake, and salt. So the carnivore diet sounds like the worst possible fucking idea for somebody to go on if they already have a high risk of kidney stones. So this sounds like some of the increased risk might be due to increased meat consumption. Yeah, dude, if you could lose weight some other way, why in the fuck would you follow the carnivore diet? Like, kidney stones are horrible.
Seeing that within the carnivore population, a corresponding amount. Now, he pointed to I've got a few people who send me their kidney stone stories after going carnivore, but again, how does that reflect to the general population? That's the question you want to know there. And in my opinion, based on observation, I don't think it's higher. I think it's probably lower because most people improve their metabolic health. Some of the other things he talks about, like poor
Apple Thunder Maze Lantern Drift Shadow Blink Copper Velvet Sprint Canyon Glow Whisper Frost Ember Quilt Plume Crunch Lantern Smudge Hatch Ripple Forge Blossom Tumble Wisp Grin Buckle Bramble Glint Murky Perch Slant Hollow Trace Flicker Moss Gravel Shiny.
Well, that's nice. Thanks for the donation, non-Wib.
exercise performance. Again, saying that you can't be explosive without carbs. Now, that's all nonsense. In fact, that's the most stupid argument when it comes to exercise.
Not eating carbohydrates reduces your explosive power. That's a well-known fact.
Dumbest one, because explosivity is short duration, very rapid onset. Things power clean, snatches, jumping, sprinting, short duration things. Carbohydrates have minimal impact on that. In fact, it's all ATP. It's all the creatine phosphate system. And what's going to increase the creatine?
Yes, and carbohydrates increase creatine stores.
Availability is consuming a lot of it, right? So eating a red meat diet is going to improve those things. Now, I can use myself as an example.
Where's the evidence that a high red meat diet improves explosivity? Care to provide evidence for that?
Broken multiple world records on a carnivore diet without any significant carbohydrates at all. So
he has not broken a single world record. This dipshit has a fucking cardio machine. He has what is it? It's one of those rowing machines, and he's at the top of a leaderboard on the cardio machine website, and he calls that a world record. This guy's like Jason Blaha.
Last night I had sex with Kenji's mom. Her vagina was inverted.
Alright, well that's nice. Thanks for the donation, non-Wib. Sadie N-word donated $2. Let me see.
Meow meow, nigga!
That's nice.
I got your attention. Let me tell you something. You know what really grinds my gears? Okay, now that I got your attention.
Nigga.
Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Juice in South Central LA was a good movie. Thanks for the donation, Sadie.
Again, his claim that, he would be better if he ate carbs. Look, I've done that, and I'm not. And the reason it's not for me is because it doesn't do well for my gut. It drives appetite, makes me think about food all the time. I overeat. For me, it's inflammatory. When I'm inflamed, I don't train as well. So again, there's you cannot just, I said, go by your own.
Okay, well, that's just all nice and stupid.
You know, watching the absolute calamity that is Snow White unfold making here is that anyone with even a surface level understanding of the film industry, plus legacy entertainment to do now is run and hide. That was all bad enough by itself, but then the news broke yesterday that even the film's US premiere is being drastically scaled back, which means no red carpet event, no real media presence, and no chance for the stars to speak to journalists and promote their movie. Red carpet events are actually pretty important media tools to...
I got some newfound respect for Gal Gadot for openly supporting Israel. It's hilarious that she ended up getting a role with that dumb bitch who played Snow White, who's a pro-Palestinian Nazi. But yeah, fuck Snow White, dude. That's a hilarious situation where her co-star is a fucking anti-Israel, Jew-hating Nazi, pro-Palestinian fucktard. Tutu Mulu donated $3. Yes, I've seen that before. It's retarded. Thanks for the donation, Tufu. Or Tutu Mulu.
To promote your film, and the fact this movie isn't even getting one is a major sign of Disney's lack of confidence in it. Again, I can totally understand the thinking.
Yeah, this chick, she's a dumbass pro-Palestinian fucking moron.
Behind it, because let's be real here, putting Rachel Zegler in front of a hot mic is a bit like putting a toddler with ADHD in charge of a nuclear launch button. Every time she opens her mouth, and by God, she loves to open her mouth, you can practically feel the Disney bean counters dying inside because she just shaved a few more $1 million off the film's box office. It's funny actually, because she even tried to spin all of this backlash into some kind of weird positivity, a bit like Henry Cavill did with The Witcher, except without the sincerity, or honesty, or respect, or charisma, or just an interesting change of better to just a
fucking Snow White.
Anime isn't always about fun.
Fucking stupid. Ninja Scroll. What is this?
The Bloodsea series. Set in a world plagued by monstrous creatures, it stands as one of the goriest and most brutal anime.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Ghost in the Shell, that's not horror. Kira isn't horror. Vampire Hunter D, that's horror. Sword of the Stranger.
Storytelling. Number 5. Sword of who dispatcher to capture them.
That's not horror. Is this person a fucking retard? Oh. It's AI. I got recommended a fucking AI channel. What a dickhead. I hate how this is becoming a thing now. What is the, like, 400 views 3 days ago. I get recommended this. What is this stupid shit?
Gideon Fountain and Peter McKinley.
Yeah, please no. Oh. Alright. Well, I guess I'll delete the stream now, because the dude fucking fooled me again, and that dipshit put the penis on screen, so... Hope you all had fun. Big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. Hopefully tomorrow night we don't get somebody trolling me and fooling me to put porn on screen, so... But yeah, we're deleting tonight's stream. So I'll see you all tomorrow. And please do not ask me tomorrow why I deleted the fucking stream. If I ever delete a stream, it's because of terms of service, okay? So shut the fuck up. But I'll see you all tomorrow, and sweet dreams.